Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tales on Tap, a place where good friends get together and share stories about trekking through forests again, teleporting through trees because that's normal, and guys who like to grab rakes too hard. Anyway, we hope that you're doing really well. Thank you so much for joining us again. Before we get into tonight's session, we're going to get through the usual announcement. So, as always, our streams are sponsored by our good friends over at Valkyrie RPG. If you haven't checked them out already, please do. Go to valkyrie-rpg.co.uk. Check out their stuff, man. They've got some cool dice on there, dice trays. They've got some cool clothes, t-shirts. They've got all sorts of stuff. And if you use code TALES10 at checkout, you can get 10% off store-wide purchases, apart from subscription boxes, which I've been told is a very important thing. They don't give any discount on subscription boxes. But go check them out anyway. They've got some really, really cool shit on there, so head over there and check them out. And also, if you haven't already, join our Discord. We've got lots of stuff going on in there. We did a huge update on that over the last week or so to categorize everything. We're going to do a lot more stuff in the Discord going forward. So make sure you kind of join that. And if you haven't already, check out all the social media links below. Click on the YouTube, Twitter. We've got Facebook, Instagram, all sorts of social media accounts. Make sure you click them, follow them, do all that good fun stuff. And if you haven't already, you pay for Amazon Prime, you can combine that with your Twitch account to get one free subscription each month. And if you want to subscribe, please do. If you don't, that's fine. Spend it elsewhere as long as you're supporting really great streamers. But if you do decide to use that subscription with us, then in the next week, if you do that, you're going to be in our prize draw. Actually kicks off next week. We're doing a giveaway at the moment to win some amazing prizes that are all coming from Valkyrie RPG. So if you haven't got the money to go and spend on them in the store itself, then by all means just subscribe. It's £5 and you could be in with a chance of winning some really cool prizes such as dice trays. We've got this cool little leather dice holder thing. That draw's being done live next Tuesday. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel to be in with a chance to win in those. And because there's a week left, make sure you share the stream with your friends. Send them the link to the thing. Tell them to subscribe. Anyone that does within the next 7 days is going to be in with a chance of winning some great prizes next week. So make sure you do that. Other than that, we are going to be running another giveaway straight after this one. But I don't know anything about this one, so I'm going to go to this screen here, and Natalie, could you give us the details of the next giveaway that's coming?
Okay, so it's going to be for a free art commission and matching chibi, but the way you're going to enter this one is to come up with a fun, creative NPC on our Discord in the Build NPC, and whichever one we deem the funniest or the most creative, will win.
Oh, that's it.
There you go.
Amazing.
Achieving!
Will the commission be of the character that they submit or of any character they wish?
Of any character they wish.
Nice.
So, guys, it's more of an incentive to get on and get active in the Discord. So head over to the Discord channel. Make sure that you create an NPC. Do not use ChatGPT to do so, although if you do, you may get extra points because that's a class little AI thing that does that. I may or may not have used that for NPCs in many campaigns before. But head over to the Discord, jump in the Build an NPC channel, and throw together an NPC. Be as creative and as fun. We want to know race, class. Throw some stats in there and throw some cool background details as to what makes this character so great. And then when we draw that, which will be in a few weeks' time, we'll get together as a group on stream. We might actually decide and go through that in a Last Orders episode
Cool, yeah.
where we actually discuss each entry and kind of pit each one against each other and come up with a winner within that Last Order. So that might be a cool way to do that. However, if you just want some art commissions anyway, if you don't want to win one, then by all means reach out to us on Discord, one of our social media platforms. We have two amazingly talented artists as part of our group here, and they'd be more than happy to take any commissions that you throw their way. So if you are more interested in things like stick figures with no facial features, but cool happy smiley faces, then that's fine. I can do that. But if you want something a little bit more in-depth and detailed, then we'll probably get one of our artists to do that for you. But yeah, cool. Is there any other announcements that we need to get through? Have I got everything? I'm sure I've got everything. I'm getting really fucking good at this.
I think you've covered it all off.
I'm honestly surprised that you can do stick figures because I can't even do that.
Well,
so...
moving on. So, let's get into tonight's episode. So, guys, if you haven't already, quickly run and get a drink, get yourselves comfortable. We jump into tonight's episode of Tales on Tap.
Let's go! Me again. Guess I haven't checked in since we first got to Alaban, have I? Shite. Okay, I mean, I'm sure the others have filled you in well enough, but just to get you up to speed, things haven't exactly gone smoothly. What started as almost a holiday retreat away from cultists turned into confrontations with gods, being appointed champion of said god, and having the realization set in of just how much danger we're putting ourselves in. Feathers is dead. After the fight with that fuck-off blighted dragon in the clearing, we rushed into action, placing her body in the cauldron and heading back at speed to the glen. Killian apologized and I snapped. Redundant apologies bring nothing except a reminder of our failure. He signaled off to some owl riders to come intercept us to help expedite our travel back. Michael, with feathers in the cauldron, set off on the faster of the owls, the rest of us following soon after. While he left her body with Naya for protection, while he went to find Salt, going door to door, asking for whatever could be spared, Clovis and I stormed up to the great tree and requested an audience with Lady Bula and Lord Sandrin. We were granted it, but I forgot how elves with their immortality can't help but prattle on with empty words. The rest of us don't have the luxury of forever. We were in a rush. We needed her back. Turns out this fucking place doesn't have much in the way of salt, which fucking baffles me, to be honest. Lady Bula was more appreciative of what we'd done for them, however, and said that we'd be granted transportation via tree to wherever we wished to go next. The question then, in our minds, was where? We were all on our last legs after the battle, rejoining at Naya's place to discuss where we would go. We were leaning towards Waterdeep, big city, almost a guarantee we'll be able to acquire the salt that we needed for this ritual. But then Killian suggested the Order, going back to the High Forest. I remembered that they stockpile materials and supplies, and there was a chance they would have what we needed, while also being an opportunity to recruit potential allies in the inevitable war that seems to be coming. So it was decided. Jove mentioned and asked what if she didn't want to come back. What if she had found happiness in the afterlife? Maybe that is the case? Clovis seems in denial, keeps saying she's wounded or fallen, yet to use the word dead. And I get it. I don't want to admit it either, especially when there's a chance we can get that chaotic little fluffball back. It feels wrong without her, but if she's found peace, I wouldn't ever want to deprive her of that. We need to give her the option, at least. I want her back. I really do. Clovis, if you're listening to me, and I've fallen, do everything in your power to bring me back. There's not exactly anything waiting for me on the supposed other side, and I know that Jove has said if he dies to let him stay dead, and Michael's relationship with death is complicated to say the least, so I'm asking you, bring me back. My fight isn't over. Anyway, after settling on the High Forest, we went for a final audience with the Lord and Lady. They granted us a tattoo as a gift. I'm not complaining, as I gave my magic tattoos over to Tiri, so my arms are looking pretty bare. I'll figure out what it does at a later date, but if it's anything like the one from Bahamut, I'm sure it'll prove useful. They also gave us a horn, saying to use it when we needed to call them, a call to arms, as it were. Lady Bula opened the portal within the tree, and we stepped through to the grandfather tree. I immediately knew where we were. I'd recognize that old boy anywhere. Still as immense as ever, but there wasn't much time to stop and smell the roses. We had to get to the monastery. We had a mission at hand. Clovis questioned my willingness to get there, confused that for once I didn't seem hesitant about returning to a place from my past. But this is the one place my parting wasn't filled with sorrow. I knew it was going to be a shock to return, but I wasn't worried. I just wanted to get Feathers back. Immediately as we entered, I was greeted with the sight of that old fucker sat on Nellie's back. God, is he a sight for sore eyes and weary bones, but I swear, if he asks me to clean one more square inch of this fucking place, he is going to see the brunt of everything I've learned whilst on the road. After swift introductions, he agreed to help us, immediately spotting the troubled aura that surrounds Jove. I know that look in his eye when he sets his mind on helping someone, and God help Jove, he is in for a time so long as we're here. I took everyone else to go get settled in the sleeping quarters, offering to steal some meditation pillows for Clovis to put together as chaise longue before promptly leaving. I needed to talk to the Stormlord. I don't know how the fuck praying is meant to work, and honestly, I still have mixed opinions about the gods themselves, but if one has chosen me to be their champion, I may as well ask for help, right? I asked for the ability to help protect my friends in battle with something other than my fists and my staff at my side. There was a crackling of thunder in the distance, so I assume they heard me. I fucking hope they did. Vincis came to my side shortly after he'd set Jove to drawing lines in the sand. I remember when I did it, I thought the exercise was so pointless, but at least I enjoyed drawing pretty pictures. Drawing lines in the sand. Are you fucking kidding me, this guy? Whatever, I challenged him on what he thought the purpose of the gods was. If they're all-powerful entities, surely they should put an end to the suffering in the world. He said it wasn't his place to know. And that's when Clovis joined us. V said he couldn't get a read on Clovis's aura, and it truly doesn't surprise me. He's a hard one to read at times. After V left to finally go fetch the fucking salt, Clovis said that the monastery and its unorthodox ways and training methods made sense. I asked, in what way? He said, just me, that I made sense now, and it made me smile. I guess I'm not your typical devout monk. Never wanted to be, so that's some reassurance at least. I thought it'd make Clovis laugh to see Jove in the Zen Garden, high as a kite, a welcome reprieve from the heaviness in the air in Feather's absence. So that's where I took him. The fucking idiot disguised himself as the leader of the monastery. I don't even know what name he gave himself now, but even Jove saw through it immediately, so definitely not his best work. It did make me laugh. We had a lengthy conversation with Jove about expectations and what we were supposed to be in life, and how he's not in the clan anymore. He doesn't have to live up to their expectations, that we would be his clan. We would be there for him no matter what he decided he wanted to be, but it had to be his decision, his choice. That was when we heard from Killian and Michael. There wasn't enough salt. We were £40 short. But S was around, and there was a chance we could still get it. I sprinted to find him and agreed to share however many stories with him as it took if he would go out and bring back as much salt as he could. I certainly have plenty of stories to go around these days. He agreed begrudgingly, and off he went. So now there's not much else we can do, except wait. Wait for S to return and hope we can get this weird ritual to work. Michael needs all of us for it, apparently. We won't let you down, Feathers. We're going to get you back.
Amazing. Amazing!
Really good. Really good.
Where we pick up tonight's episode, you guys all bedded down for the evening. You all gained the benefits of a long rest at the end of last session. Most of you experienced quite a restful sleep, but not all. Michael, throughout the night, you have restless sleep. Through your mind, ricocheting around the chasm of your brain, are the thoughts and visions that you received when you were back in Mithranor. Questions that follow. Who were the people in that room when I was trying to cast a spell? What was the spell that I was trying to cast? I've never been able to do that. Wait, I was holding a dagger in a ritual room, but surrounded by people that have been described to me as the very people we're trying to stop today. What does this all mean? And throughout the night, you toss and turn in a cold sweat, unable to grasp any answer. Because of this, you do have a restless night's sleep. You can gain the benefits of a long rest. However, I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
$14.
Okay. You don't wake up too much in this unease that in an unrested state. You don't gain any points of exhaustion due to this, but you are tired. You wake up earlier than anyone else. You kind of wake and look around the room. There's more people in here now than you've experienced before. Most of the bedrolls throughout this chamber are currently occupied. Most of them. There are still some that are empty. The room itself is warmer now because of the bodies in it. A lot warmer than you experienced as you were going to sleep. Maybe that was the reason you couldn't. No, it can't be. There's more to this than you can make sense of. You wake up very early. You look out towards the window, the 2 or 3 windows that are in the room on the outer wall. The sun hasn't even risen yet. It's still dark. There is still a crack of light, as if the sun piercing the horizon, but it's calm where you are. There's a heaviness to the air within the room. You feel yourself being stuffy, almost clammy, a little bit uncomfortable. But you wake earlier than anyone. What would you like to do?
Where's my sword? I'll look around for it.
As you look around to see where the sword is, it's no further than 5 feet away from you. Lay on the ground next to the bedroll that you're currently sat up in.
Is everybody else sleeping around me? My friends are all...
Yeah, you kind of look
asleep.
over, and Ash is kind of on her side, kind of curled up a little bit tighter, but looks a little restless, but still fast asleep. Jove, the complete polar opposite, on his back, arms sprawled out, head back, mouth open, snoring away. Clovis, a little bit more dignified, however, still on his back. You do see, however, Clovis has tried to make the best of a uncomfortable situation by taking whatever spare clothes he had within his knapsack and putting them out underneath to at least try and cushion himself a little bit from the hard floor and the very thin bedroll that he is on. But they all seem fast asleep. You look over to where the cauldron is, strategically placed between both Clovis and Jove. They are just behind you. But yeah. They all seem fast asleep. There doesn't seem to be anybody actually awake within the room, but make me a perception check to see if you can see if anyone is.
That's a 4.
A 4. No, it doesn't seem that anyone else is awake.
Okay. I'll try and quietly get up and grab my blade, just not to disturb anyone.
Okay.
And I'll try and quietly make my way out.
Okay. Just make me a quick stealth check just to see if you are.
Stealth 19.
Yes. 19. You get up, gather your sword. What else are you picking up, or is that just the sword and maybe your coat or something, or are you just pretty much just picking the sword up and making your way out?
Sword, coat, even though I don't really feel whole in the same way as I used to. I guess I still, out of habit, take my coat.
Okay. You do so, and you manage to pick them up without making anyone else aware that you're awake and making your way out of the room. And as you do, you don't really make much in terms of noise. And as you make your way out, and make your way out into the corridor, you see there is an Aarakocra stood with their backs against the wall. However, it's not S. They are black-feathered, kind of crow-raven in feature, with an apple in their hand and a knife. And they kind of look at you and go, "Good morning."
Morning.
It was a bit early for you to rise. I thought maybe you'd be asleep for longer.
I've slept enough in my life.
Da. I know all that too well. Well, I think that the cook is making breakfast. If you would like to make your way to the kitchen, I'm pretty sure he'll have things ready soon.
I'm alright. I'm just gonna get some air for a little bit.
Don't let me stop you. You do as you like. Takes another slice of apple and starts eating it.
Do you know a quiet place around here?
Da. This time of day, most places are quite quiet. Probably courtyard is best.
Alright. And that's...
Outside. Da. Outside. Through the main hall and out through big doors. But not big doors with people outside. Big doors that are not protected.
Okay. Thanks. And I'll start heading my way there.
Oh, pardon me, friend. I came here not an hour ago with my friend S. He picked me up on the way. Told me to wait here until you and your friends woke to say that we got much salt as we could. We'll be ready for you in the morning.
Oh, that's great news. Thank you. Amazing.
What was your name?
Michael. And yours?
To meet you, Michael. Name is Luca.
Yes. Nice to meet you, Luca.
Pleasure. Now, I go find somewhere nicer to sit. Kind of turns and begins walking off down the corridor towards the kitchen.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. He's alive in my heart.
Yeah.
So. As you kind of walk through into the main hall, you notice that the big doors that are opposite to the corridor that you come out a little bit towards the left, sort of diagonally right of where you are. You'd have to go directly right to head towards the main door, and as you do, start making your way through the hall, looking over to where the big doors are. The door opens. The guarded door. I'd like you to make me a perception check, please.
14.
Okay. As the door opens, with a huge kind of scrape, as if the bottom of the door is kind of catching the stone on the floor, you notice that the guards that stand outside kind of step apart and kind of wait for the doors to open, and they only open kind of 2/3 of the way, and there's a kind of a blue hue to the room behind, although darkened, not much light source coming through, but there is this blue light source in there, and within, as the doors are opening, there is a flash of blue light, and then darkness into dimly lit candlelight without any blue light at all. And as that happens, two individuals walk out of the room. One is a halfling man, kind of dressed in kind of tattered, dirty, kind of ripped cotton clothing, kind of hobbling a little bit with a kind of cut on the cheek, and a tall, bright red-haired tiefling with tan skin who's kind of ushering them out of the room and turns them and kind of walks directly past you without kind of looking you in the eye, just escorting that individual off down the hall towards the area that you've just come from. And as they pass you, the doors close again and the guards step out and stand there with their bow staffs and their glaives and weaponry.
And they just walk past me.
Yeah, they don't even pay any notice to you and just continue walking on. You continue on towards the main door. You are absolutely right, Natalie, and I completely forgot. Before we do that, I completely forgot about notes. Again, I think, right, that I do the announcements really well, I remember everything, and then get into the... There's always something. Natalie
Just
and
me and
Evan...
I think,
Yeah. Could you two roll me a d20, please?
I got a nat 20.
8.
Okay. Evan,
Evan.
you're going to be taking notes, and you're going to be...
Wasted that 20. Thank you.
Michael's going to be recapping for us next week. So you, Michael, kind of start making your way towards the main door, and as you open it, the cool air of the outside world kind of hits you. So refreshing. You felt so warm for some reason, and it hits the kind of moist skin and just instantly cools you down. But you make your way outside. The courtyard itself is quiet. There is still two individuals off towards the main gate on the far end of the courtyard, sat kind of directly, sat diagonally staring at the, watching the stairs. But the courtyard itself is empty.
I'll find a place to sit if there's... I don't know, is there like trees here, rocks, or is it more like a...
So it's a flat courtyard. There is, as you kind of come out of the doors, closing my eyes to get into my mind palace here, just closing my eyes a little bit for a second. So as you kind of come out the main doors, directly to the right-hand side, set back a little bit, is the Zen garden in which Jove used with all the sand to kind of center his chi. On the right-hand side, lining the back wall, there are all sorts of kind of wooden training dummies with various like weapon racks, but no sharpened weapons in any of them. There are some bow staffs and blunted swords. There are glaives, nunchucks, all sorts of weaponry, traditional monk-style weapons as well. Like there are some throwing stars. There is also small daggers with rope attached. A number of different kind of thinned out katana style weaponry, but all along that back wall on the right hand side. Towards the left hand side, there is a kind of there is a pond or water feature, so to speak, on quite large. And it has lilies, and it's a koi pond with some beautiful fish swimming around, and this kind of water source that's being pumped continuously from this sort of gap in the wall. But it's the wall itself, you remember, as you kind of were walking up the steps towards the monastery, there is no water source leading in, so it's kind of a perpetual water source, magically charmed, to create this beautiful little water fountain that falls into the koi carp pond. There is...
I'm gonna go.
Go on.
I'm gonna go towards the practice dummies and the weapon racks.
Okay, no problem. In this moment of solace and quiet, away from everyone, tell me what's going through Michael's mind at the moment.
It's just flashing images of the training room with what I can only assume is my two teachers, I guess. I don't know. And the ritual, the dagger, just watching yet another cursed blade in my hands that for some reason I wield, and just before I drop it, and it keeps coming back towards the spell I first casted on the training dummy, and then the unusual spell that I've never seen before that I casted towards the people in the ritual, and that scream that I heard. Just it's almost like, for reference for everybody else, when a Harry Potter reference here, when he gets drained by the boggart and he just hears the screams of his mum. It's sort of the same thing. He sees Michael's just seeing flashing images and then just hearing the scream in the background, and it just loops, and it just loops in his head over and over again as he instinctually grabs one of the katanas and just start beating the shit out of one of those training dummies. He's absolutely just going ham at this.
You do so, and it's almost as if your body, and you lose control of your senses in this moment, and strike after strike, you feel the memories and the moments in your head pressing forward with great velocity, flashing from one memory to the next as you step back and you slash and slash, and as you step back in anger and let out a scream, holding your hand up, your fingers crackle with this energy that you are unfamiliar with as you cast the same spell you saw in your memory. And this green-hued energy fires from your hand and strikes the training dummy. Your eyes widen, looking at the mark in which was left from this spell, and your hand held out in front of you, shaking. Turn your hand over, staring at it. No way that this came from me. You spend the next hour or so trying to recreate and force yourself into a moment where you can push and force whatever energy this was that has been laid dormant within you out. Day breaks. The sun grows higher in the sky, but though countless attempts, you are unsuccessful. You try different tactics, getting angrier, getting calmer, concentrating. And just as you are about to lose all hope, and you almost give up, you hold out your hand one last time. And it was something that you hadn't quite picked up on. But it wasn't about trying to force energy from a place that you didn't know it came from. More about centering the energy that you have and focusing that through yourself. As you hold your hand out, and almost naturally, spell forms in your hand. And you hold it there, almost toying with it, turning it round before eventually releasing it across into the trading dummy as it crashes in. And a moment of relief. The anxiety within you fades. You've done it. But you don't know why, how, where this has come from. And it's almost a moment of clarity for you. And the moment of, I've done this before. I know that I've done this before. I've seen that I have done this and I've performed this spell. But if I knew how to do it, then I must know how to do it somewhere inside me. And it was all of those things that have culminated in you being able to access new abilities within you. As you practice more and more in the courtyard, trying to manipulate the energies and the forces within you into different types of spells, the next up is you, Ash.
Hello.
You wake up, and
Yes.
as you do, you kind of yawn, but as you kind of stretch out your arms, your left arm kind of hits this sack that's next to you. Big, and it's heavy, like, doof. And you kind of like reach over and peer in and realize that there is a big sack of salt laying next to you in the room.
Like, I think this is probably the earliest Ash has ever woken up in the history of you guys knowing her, because she is back at the monastery where she was forced to wake up at the crack of dawn. It's that like muscle memory to awake quickly. And so as she's like stretching awake, like hating being awake, but feels that salt, and just kind of looks and checks if anybody else is up yet. Guys.
No one is, apart from you. There are others within the room, other monks and clerics and other individuals sat on their bedrolls, kind of waking up.
Knowing that Clovis wakes up early anyway, I'm just going to jostle aside.
No, it's perfectly fine. You can come to bed.
Love that.
I was having the most wonderful dream.
Sorry to intrude. You normally wake up before me, so I figured you wouldn't mind. The salt. S dropped off the salt.
Then it's here.
It's here. I don't know where Michael is, though.
For God's sakes, now's not the time, Michael. I'll send out a message a couple of times in various general directions. It's only 120 feet, so I don't know if it'll reach it. I'll just say, Michael, are you around?
You hear this in your head, Michael.
Michael?
Because of where the training dummies are and where the room is that the rest of them are, you are just on the border around 120 feet as to where he is.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just out in the courtyard.
Very well. It would appear all the materials are provided. Shall we begin this thing?
Yeah. Give me a minute.
Are you okay? You sound rather distressed.
I'm good, I think. And you hear a message back. Not from your own casting.
Yeah, just as I'm about to go.
Yeah.
Would you mind maybe waking Jove and see if we can all head down to the kitchen? Someone told me that there was about to be breakfast soon as well.
Very well. I feel like you could have told me you could do this. It would have saved us all a lot of time previously.
Do what?
This? What you're doing right now? It's not me doing this. Is it me doing this?
I'll be right there.
Very well. And you see Clovis is kind of...
Is everything okay?
He says he's fine. He sounds a little... Did you know that he could do the mind thing? The
He's
message
never
spell?
done it before, no.
Well, that one's full of surprises. He's talking about breakfast for some reason. While I'm hungry, I'd much rather get more pressing matters handled first. But he's on his way. He asked us to wake Jove.
Okay. I'll kind of go over to Jove and I'll jostle him awake.
Jove.
As you jostle him, you just sort of even go, "No, leave me alone. I'm not allowed to do that stuff." And he just sort of like rolls on his side and like claps his hands together.
I'll take out my little grooming kit and start sorting myself up in the morning.
Jove, after a moment or two of Ash jostling you, you do wake, but this has been honestly one of the best night's sleep you've had in a long time. Like, weirdly, that you just so nice, relaxed, just went to bed in the right frame of mind and just have woken up now. The day is dawning and you are ready to get on with it.
As you sort of finally jostle him awake, he's like, "You're not who I know." And it is weird. He sort of like gets up, but at like an angle, so he doesn't put his arms down or anything. He just sort of like leans up. Really sort of like mellow look on his face. "This place is great. I feel good."
Why do I feel like I've disappointed you both by waking you up? This is how I feel every morning.
Listen, if we're sleeping in a place with as many fit and live people as this, I'm going to have a wonderful evening's sleep. Put it that way.
What does fit and rive mean?
Live. Don't
Live.
worry about it.
What's live?
It doesn't matter. I think we have
All
the
right then,
salt.
fine.
The salt has arrived, apparently. And is ready for us.
Right.
Also,
Are we
breakfast
sure
is being
doing this is a good
prepared.
idea? Again, she might be happier where she is. Just saying.
We have to give her the option. We need her.
Do we? Not in like a bad way, but what I'm saying is, she's done her fight. She's done what she needs to do. There's,
Jove, she's 14.
Yeah,
She
I'm
has
20. I'm gonna
plenty-
die soon.
You both have plenty of fight left in you.
We're not elves. We don't live as long as you do.
I understand what you're saying. I do. The natural order of things and all that. But as much as she may be in a better place now, if that is the case, then I'm sure she will have the option to
What, shy
choose.
again?
Or not come back. We don't know how any of this works. We don't even know if it will work. We were given a pot by a bunch of elves, and if there's anything you should have learned from hanging around with me is you shouldn't trust elves.
I trust you. Well, always have, relatively speaking.
Maybe you haven't learned them. But listen, as much as I understand what you're saying, we have been set upon a purpose, and if Feather's purpose is fulfilled, then she did her job marvelously, and she will be remembered and celebrated for many years to come once the story is told. But I just don't think she didn't die in the pursuit of the fate that we were placed on.
No, she died during a favor we were giving, in the hope of getting allies for the wider purpose, the wider goal. So I agree with Clovis that we have to try. And I don't know much about any of this, but the way I see it is we're opening the door back. She can decide to say, no, actually, I'm good, and close the door in our faces, or she can step through.
All right, sure.
It's
Also,
the right decision.
Lithe means thin and supple and flexible and graceful and stuff like that.
All the best things.
Oh, so like you two.
I'm not actually that flexible, to be honest. Got a bit of a bad back in my age.
At this point, Michael, you do enter the room.
Why do you think I keep
At
making
this,
chairs long?
at this moment, Michael enters the room.
I'm sorry, what did I catch?
Nothing, just
Vocab lesson, that's fine.
I
think we have
Is-
the salt we need.
Yeah, I met an Aarakocra
S?
outside. No, as his friend Luca.
Luca. Do I know Luca?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, dog-feathered Aarakocra. He was the one who told me about the breakfast.
Can I get a? Can I just sort of see if? Am I gauging that Michael is like either nervous or, what's his vibe at the moment?
Make me
'Cause he
an
didn't sound
insight
right to me
check.
this morning.
Yeah, make me an insight check, and we can see how much you kind of discern from his general mannerisms and the way he's holding himself and that sort of thing.
Well, it's a 9, but my passive's 15.
Oh, bless.
Because you're trying to actually figure this out, it would be the roll number. It's not just
fine.
about a natural picking up of it, but it's more. Michael seems to be a little bit calmer than he was the night before, a little less frantic about the things he needed to discuss, but also you do sense there is an air of kind of caution in what he's saying and the way he's kind of behaving.
Is there anything physically different about him?
Not that you can see. Which sounded weird, because it sounded as if there's things there that you can't see that have changed. But that's not the case!
The room looks
No.
empty.
Yeah, he's just a little taller for some reason. No, there doesn't seem to be any physical change.
Well, if it's not too much trouble for you, I'd prefer we get this process underway before we begin tucking into our meals.
Yeah, no, sounds good. She needs to rest in this for 8 hours, so the
Then we'll
quicker we
have
do
plenty
it,
of
the
time.
quicker we can get her back.
Okay.
Exactly.
Uh,
Where do we
The
need to
rest
collect
of
this
this sort of party of monks, I guess,
Well,
have
people
they
are
started to get away?
Yeah, people are starting to
Waking us
filter out of the room. Nobody really is paying you much mind. Ash, something that you've picked up on at the moment is that Tiri is nowhere to be seen. You haven't seen
Yeah.
any sight or sound of him since you arrived.
Yeah.
But as you guys have stood and sat in your respective area of this kind of room, everyone else is seemingly getting up, and something that you all kind of notice is that it's a very regimented. I mean, Ash, you'll know this, but a lot of them, it's very regimented in the way that they are waking up. They wake up, they straighten out their bedrolls if they have moved, they straighten them out so that they're all exactly parallel to each other, no taller, no smaller. They are all lined up perfectly. The bed pans that were next to each one are exactly where they need to be, and each one has a uniformity. There are small personal possessions that people are leaving by their bedrolls, but they are in if there's clothing, they're all very neatly folded, neatly piled. It's very much militaristic in a sense, but everything is uniformed and has this kind of fashion, and people wake up, get themselves sort of dressed, wash their faces, clean themselves up, that sort of thing. But then before leaving the room, straighten up their little area to make sure that it is perfect. And you even see them as they're sorting the bedrolls out, kind of out looking, pacing out, like kind of to make sure that it is equidistant and all that kind of thing. But once they do that, they all kind of do this weird ritual where they finish it and they kind of like bow towards that area where they've just fixed it up and leave the room. Like each person that's there as they wake.
Do I need to do that now? Seeing as I'm like a monk kid
You're-
here now.
Not a monk.
I
No.
could be.
I'm not saying you couldn't be. If you really listen, this goes back to the conversation yesterday. If you really want to be a monk, you absolutely can do that. But this,
Like grow more arms.
that's kind
Grow
of a
more
me
axes?
thing.
Oh, can it be an us thing? Is it
Maybe.
shareable?
I don't know. I don't know. They hardly understand what I can do.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Um,
Okay.
To be
So-
fair, you have a lot of stuff that we hardly understand that you can do either. So I
Yes.
think you're on par with Ash in this regard.
And you already have 3 times the arms most of us do, just in one.
That's
two.
true.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And in his own crude little way, he starts like straightening out his bedroll, and it's not quite there, and like takes a carrot out of the bag of coaling and puts it where a personal effect would be, just sort of like mirror what they're doing. Badly folds his own clothes, just like he's trying to do his own thing, and then like awkwardly bows to his own shit and turns back around.
I wasn't laughing at you, by the way. I was laughing at the dirty rolls. No extra arms. I'm out. It's like, fucking tickle me.
Fuck this.
Yeah. So, Jove, you do, and you kind of like, you don't know what they're doing, but you've kind of like watched and picked a little bit up. So you kind of like try to straighten yours up and kind of put your axe just so and things like that, and then you just kind of like bow, but it's like this awkward, like as if like a soldier's bowing to a royal, like arms beside and bow type thing, like.
Balls over.
But you do so. You do so. In the meantime, Michael, you kind of pull the cauldron over while Jove is doing this and fill and kind of make sure that the cauldron enlarges enough to hold the capacity of salt that you're pouring in, and you pour in the full 200 pounds of salt into the cauldron.
Cool.
I'll make sure to cover feathers as much as possible with all the salt.
Yeah,
So
I mean
know
it's
looks
it's not difficult. Feathers is a small individual, so you managed to do that quite successfully. And then once you're all ready,
Before we cover her in the salt,
Yeah.
Clovis will just take, once he's done with his stuff, he'll just take a few minutes while everyone else is having these discussions about arms and things like that to use his grooming kit to just kind of tidy Feathers up a bit, so
Yeah.
she doesn't look like someone who had just been dead when she wakes up. You know, she'll come back being.
You mean
put
so she
together
doesn't
stuff.
look like me?
So her feathers aren't like poking out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll groom her a little bit to make her a little bit more presentable.
okay, no problem. You take a few minutes to do so. You are very well trained in this regard, so it doesn't take you as long as it possibly would others.
Expertise.
Yeah, you're just like, that doesn't belong there, and that sort of thing. So yeah, you managed to do so. That's no problem. Thank you so much for the 2 gifted subs, whoever that was.
Hey!
We have a Nunamoose. Thank you so much for the gifted
Nunamoose.
sub.
I'm not a moose.
So
How lovely is
nice.
that?
It's not a moose.
Anonymous. Anyway,
Thank you, Anonymous.
you managed to do that,
Anonymous.
Clovis, quite successfully. As you all gather around the cauldron, Michael, you start to begin the ritual. Now.
Oh.
No, go on.
Okay, I was just
Yeah,
going to
go
say
on.
that as Michael goes to begin casting the ritual, Ash kind of instinctively, without even realizing what she's doing, like flicks her arm out, and a small moat of lightning energy crackles and just drifts over and dissipates into your shoulder. And I cast guidance on you.
Yes!
Ooh!
Okay, so here's how this is going to work, and for you guys at home, you're going to get an insight as to how I DM using spells such as Revivify, Raise Dead, True Resurrection, all the rest of it. So, the cauldron that you have works as if by the Raise Dead spell, which means the way I run these types of spells is it's not just about casting the spell. This is a group skill check as well as the spell. Now, the spell will only be successful if, as a group, you pass a group skill check. And as per the Raise Dead spell, even if it is successful, creature in which you're casting this on has to be able to and willing to come back for this to work. Are we all clear with what's happening?
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, not giving you examples as to what to do, however, you guys will be performing certain actions which will be combined with a skill check to help the spell take hold. For example, if, say, somebody was playing a Cleric of Light, devout follower of Lathander, it may just be that they sit there in full prayer to the god to then be combined with a religion check that they are proficient in to help ease this on. Now, do all or some of you have inspiration? I am allowing you guys to use inspiration on these checks as well. None of you are exhausted, so it will just be a straight roll. Unless you can come up with something hella creative in which I will allow you to roll with advantage on the skill check if it is so.
Okay.
So, Michael, you start to prepare the Raise Dead spell. I would like to know what each of you are going to do to help the spell take hold. Does anybody want to go first?
Just a
Jove?
quick point. No, I'm not going first. I just want to make a quick one. Has the ritual actually ever been talked out between us? Do we know we have to do this? Like,
Well,
has Michael ever explained how it works?
No,
We
I'm
know
kind
how it
of.
works, but
but because this is the first time this happening, I'm just taking that onus on to explain it in its
Right,
full
okay.
mechanical, step by step, and how it works. So Michael we can imagine and use our verisimilitude in our minds that Michael is the one that's explaining this. That you guys have to help him.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because
To cast this spell.
when I identified it, I did say as if the Raise Dead spell, and I said that directly to Ash, so she would have passed on that information.
Yeah.
So he does.
So,
She, though.
who is going first? Who would like to go first? Michael, you will also have to do this as well. It's not just about casting the spell on your behalf. So who would like to go first?
I'll step up.
Okay, Clovis?
So as like I finish sort of tidying her up a little bit, and the salt covers her and the ritual begins, Clovis will be just thinking about all the potential that he saw in Feathers from the very beginning. He'll be ruminating this on his head, all of the plans that they had, all of the plans they made, some that went awry, some that worked but still kind of went awry. All of the fun that he's had with Feathers. And he'll remember one of their plans. And he'll reach into his pocket. And he'll pull out the sort of costume dress, large, opulent ring that he and Feathers bought as part of one of their plans, which they never got to pull off.
Okay.
And he'll place it atop the encrusted salt. And he'll place his hand on top of it, kind of pushing it down into the salt a little bit, and he'll cast message. And he'll say, We still have so many plans. So much left to do. I do not wish to take you from what may be a wonderful place, but aside from the destiny we have been placed on, we have much still to do as friends. And I'll also cast friends at that point. Come back to us. We need you.
Okay. I'd like you to roll me a persuasion check. It would have been a straight roll, but because of the casting of friends as well, I will allow you to roll this with advantage.
Sure thing. Persuasion.
Yes, please.
Okay. So that's a 19.
Okay. 15. Who would like to step up next?
I'll step forward.
Okay.
From beneath the kind of mat, like next to where Ash was sleeping, there is a sheet of parchment coiled together and held together by the ring of protection that Feathers stole from her for her. And she kind of looks at the ring that Clovis has put on the salt and just smiles and kind of takes the ring off and casts protection from evil and good on the ring. And I place it on Feathers' finger and I lay out the parchment, which is a drawing that Ash has done of the two of them at the ball in El Terrell. Feathers in her sparkly outfit, wooing the crowds with her singing before it kind of fell a bit flat. Ash in her tuxedo, and she kind of just mutters, "You said to me way back then that you wished you were as pretty as me and that you looked like me, and I told you that you were honestly, you are perfect just the way you are, and there is so much light and life in you. You care so much about all of them, and I saw that from the moment we met in Candlekeep. Even when stealing a book and pissing Jove off, I could see how much you cared. This is the weirdest but only version of family I've ever had. And you are like a little sister that I am so proud of. And wherever you go, I hope you come back, but I want you to be safe. So I hope that this ring will help protect you, no matter what you choose. But I love you. Thank you for everything, but please fucking come back to us, Feathers. I can't deal with all these men without you.
Okay. So I'm going to also ask you for a persuasion roll.
No. I don't know what else it would be. I was like,
Yeah.
painting next.
Yeah. Make me an arts and crafts roll, please.
Don't punch me to life. No.
I would say
I
that's
have
more
no
of a.
skills that help.
I would say that you are probably trying to persuade more than anything. So
Okay.
if you could make me a persuasion roll, please.
This is -1.
Okay.
Okay. It was a 14 on the die.
A 13.
13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's next? Jove or Michael? Don't all speak at once. Who wants to go next?
Just trying to think of what I can do, how I can help.
Okay. Well, I'll
Alright,
go.
I can step up to this one then.
Okay,
So,
Jove?
sort of watching Clovis and Ash say what they say and do what they do, Jove sort of looks around. He's kind of lost because he's never had that kind of relationship with Feathers. It's always been very much sort of back and forth. There's never been this kind of personal touch to it as opposed to the two of you. And he sort of paces a little bit, getting a little bit frustrated, and then looking at his axe and his shield, he thinks back to one of the few times where he had to step back and actually try and bolster someone else. All the way back in Greenest, when Sen first took on the dragon, it stood before the gates, and Jove had to step to the side. And instead of just drawing something, he set off a chant of shields and swords against things to create a beat. And not quite as aggressively, he takes sword and shield and just starts slowly creating a beat. And then, in a way you've never seen him do it before, sort of from his mouth, the red smoke starts to just sort of billow out ever so slightly, and the form of the locate object dog appears, the sort of outline of it, and it just sort of circles the cauldron a little bit. And as he sort of lets it loose, and it just sort of sits there, sort of kind of sniffing around, he's like, I know me and you never really got on very well, but gotta say I miss you and I kind of want you back. If you don't want to, that's fine, but all I know is once I used this to find you, now you can use it to find me. Just follow the dog. Come back to us, and yeah, just we miss you. And he just sort of very, just gently, rhythmically still doing the beat as the dog just sort of sits and...
Okay. I'd like a performance check from you then, please.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is the issue with having low charisma characters trying to bring someone back.
I said you can come up with creative ways. I was wholeheartedly expecting Jove to like Hulk scream into the fucking cauldron or something.
Get the fuck off!
Okay, what did you roll, Jove?
I need to roll, yeah. Okay, that's just a straight 12.
12. Okay.
Not bad, it's not bad, it's not bad.
Michael.
Michael, from his sort of muttering, it's almost like the sound of his voice focuses in. Feathers, I know what it's like to be where you are. And I know how enticing it can be to stay there. But please, we need you out here. And honestly, fuck the gods. Fuck destiny. We create our own destiny here. I know that more than anyone. When I was where you are, Ash reached out a hand to me. So please, Feathers, take my hand, and I'll shoot my hand into the salt, and this almost dark light will start to emanate around my body as I produce my dark halo.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to need a persuasion roll from you. With the aid of your dark halo, I'm going to allow you to roll with advantage.
And guidance.
And you also have guidance on this as well.
Guidance is a D4, right?
It is.
Before.
Okay. That's 18 on the die, which was the highest one.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Plus 3 from guidance,
21.
plus 4 from
25.
persuasion, so 25.
As go on.
Can I just add one thing? I know this isn't going to contribute to the roll.
Mhm.
Yeah, I also want to add one thing not contributing to a roll.
Okay.
We're
Clovis.
extra.
Yeah, Clovis. Joe's like, I'm done. Just gonna. Yeah. Clovis.
As this all is happening and the ritual seems to be coming to an end, Clovis is just going to hold his cane in his hand and release it floating in the air. And the crystal dragon head on the cane will open its mouth. And I'll cast Dragon's Blessing. And it'll be on Ash, Jove, and Feathers.
Ash, Jove, and Feathers.
Actually, Michael, because he's doing the ritual, so I'll go Ash, Michael, and Feathers.
Okay. No problem.
And I'll
Ash?
say, and I'll whisper to myself, also to Bahamut. Her task is not complete. Guide her if you can.
Ooh. Hey,
Ash. Oh, yeah, go on.
you kind of do that, and instinctively, unfortunately, your tattoo is on your neck, but you kind of like instinctively, your eyes kind of shoot to everyone else's tattoo just in case. But unfortunately, it does not show that anything happens with anyone else's tattoo, and none of you notice that anything happens with Clovis's either.
We're all.
Yeah. Ash is going to step and almost mirror Michael, and also thrust her hand in. And as she does, she is going to invoke her champion's form. So it's almost like the light and the dark, both sides reaching in to bring her back.
Okay. You guys, this will bring about the close of the ritual. Michael, you sense that the ritual has taken hold and has been cast successfully. However, there is 8 hours to allow Feathers to recuperate before you will find out if this has worked or not. But with Michael and Ash, you feel no movement inside the cauldron. No heartbeat, nothing. But you feel, Michael, that the spell has taken hold.
Now we just wait.
We've done what we can. Go and get your breakfast. I'll remain here.
No. I don't want to leave her. She didn't leave me.
Very well. I'll bring you something.
Thank you.
I have the stone in case.
No.
But Ash, you're staying with Feathers. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off then, Clovis.
That's fine. It's fine. I was
Apologies.
done. All I was going to say is I'll just walk over and place a hand on Michael's shoulder, sort of turn him to me and just give him a thankful nod.
Still glowing, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn to Jove and I'll say, come on, there's nothing else we can do here for now.
Yeah, you're probably right. So he places his axe and shield down very neatly at the side of his bed and makes sure they're as sort of, as he can, awkwardly bows once again. And just kind of walks next to you and leaves with you.
Yeah. And as we're sort of leaving, he'll just look up to you and say, well done. I know that wasn't easy.
No. Sorry. I was like, where the fuck is that bird come from? Where's that bird come from?
What the hell was that?
I know it wasn't easy, but you did remarkably well.
I don't know. I don't think my heart was as in it as your guys was, but I know you want to try, so did what I could.
Sometimes our hearts don't need to be in it. We just need to be present. And I think it
Sounds
was more than you care to admit even to yourself.
It's not
You
about
said
admitting it to my. It's not about admitting it to myself. I just I don't know. Like I said, when I die, I'm gone. Kind of feel like everything has its time, has its place. If you die in battle, protecting your friends, that's the best way you can go. Maybe that's just, more tribe stuff I have to forget or place in the back of my mind. I don't know, but it's kind of the way I live my life. If I died for you guys, I'd be happy.
I understand. Believe me, I do. But not everything just needs to be what it is. We can change things in this world. We have choices. We have magic. What is magic if not changing the way things ought to be?
I mean, I'm still a little bit shaky on what magic is in general, so I just know you do it.
You just did it as well?
I mean, it's not magic, that's just blood stuff.
Looked pretty magic from where I was standing.
Oh, you. No,
Let's see if these people eat anything other than bloody lettuce.
I'm.
At least they have
Okay.
salt. Well, not anymore, but
I don't think we
They
can. I
had
don't
it.
think we can't use any of that salt because
I wouldn't.
I'm gonna go to the garden for a bit and do some more of that. I'm not really hungry, but I know you guys are gonna be sat there for a while, so
Can
You
I
sort of-
insight check whether he's hungry or not, please?
Roll me an insight check.
Roll.
do I have to roll deception against it if I'm trying to hide it?
Yes, you do.
17.
Go.
Also, Anne just reminded me I forgot to do something. I forgot to update the character sheet with the level 7 characters. So I'm going to just do this very quickly.
That's fine.
And just do that there, like that. Boom. And then do that.
I just want to say, I
Okay.
appreciate you all going for the feels rather than the funny, because I would
Yeah,
expect you to
yeah.
shout it as well. I appreciate that too.
It was the second option, but I thought there were better ways to do it.
Save that for
Now
when you're
Jove,
back.
Yeah.
Now Jove is zen. It's not, I'm not going to scream at your corpse.
So, Ashar stays with Feathers, Clovis, Jove, and Michael. You leave to head towards the kitchen, knowing that there is.
I'm also staying in the.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
go
Yeah.
to the kitchen alone. It's fine. If Jove's going off to the garden and those two are staying behind, I'll just go and get everyone some food.
Okay, you head into the kitchen. When you do so, a lot of people are eating currently. You notice that the room is quite full. There are a number of different races and, people sat around eating their food. Make me a perception check, please, just so I can see who you actually pick out as your...
Perception 15.
15, okay. You notice that there are two Aarakocra, the one that was described by Ashar last week and the one described earlier by me, both sat on one of the tables just a little bit away from everyone else in quite heavy conversation. You also notice the bright red-haired tiefling and halfling sat right at the back of the room on a table to themselves. The tiefling kind of sat back in their chair, just kind of every now and again picking some food out, eating it, but not really paying much attention to the room around them, more making sure that the individual across from them in the halfling is eating. You're handed whatever foods that you wish.
Yeah.
Enough.
I'll take a little spread of
Mm-hmm.
things for everyone. This tiefling person and the halfling, do they appear to fit in?
The tiefling does. The tiefling seems to fit in. The halfling does not, however. The halfling is wearing quite common clothes. You also notice with that perception check that the clothes themselves, one of the shoulders where the seam meets the chest of the clothing to the arm of the clothing is kind of ripped and they're quite dirty, and the hair seems to be quite a little bit messed up. You don't, however, see any of the cuts or anything. They've seemed to have cleaned their skin up quite well. But you don't see any mess on them, just kind of the clothes are a bit dirty and a bit ripped and such.
As I'm passing, I'll just say, good morning. I know a fantastic tailor in El Terrell if you need one. Should be able to fix that.
Oh, that's mighty kind of you. Thank you. And just
No
kind of
problem.
like head down and starts eating away. The tiefling just kind of doesn't really look at you, doesn't pay you any attention, but continues to look around.
Trouble on the road, was there?
Nothing that we couldn't handle.
I'm sure.
And just back down, just picks up more food and continues eating.
Is there anyone, are there any of the other monks around in the dining hall paying any particular attention to these two people?
No.
So there's not like people like sort of looking and whispering about them or anything like that. Everyone seems quite
No.
comfortable.
Quite comfortable, yeah.
Okay. I'll just know when I'm not know when I'm not catching anyone's fancy and continue on.
Okay.
And as I pass the two Arakocras, I'll say, one of you must be S. Am I correct?
No, that's
Oh,
me.
that's you, is it?
Yes. And you are? Oh,
Clovis Crowley.
Yeah,
A
you
pleasure
were
to meet you.
in the bedroll near Ash last night. How are you doing? Is your friend okay?
Inconclusive at the moment, unfortunately, but we're hopeful.
Well, I hope it was worth the trip. Ash is going to have to spend quite some time with me today. A deal is a deal.
Okay, I shan't pry, but allow me to thank you as well before she does in her own way.
Don't mention it. But if you know any good, like tales of heroic deeds or anything that you might want to share, it's the greatest way of thanks. I'm always looking for, stories.
Do I have a few of those?
Luca just kind of turns to you and goes, this one has quite the appetite for grand tales of conquest and adventure. Me, on the other hand, pass a few gold through my hand. That is usually the best way I like to be paid. And sometimes you don't even need to put it in my hand.
I see. I assume you mean you'll take it from us and not something far more lewd.
I'm going to leave that up to your own imagination. And he just kind of like sits back in his rocks back in his chair, smiling, and just kind of like flicks a grape up in it.
Well, S, I have many a tale which I'm always willing to share. So
deal. Sold. Fantastic. After lunch?
Certainly, we have a day of waiting for results to come about. So, give me something to do at least.
Very well. Well, I have bit to do
Maybe
this
not
morning.
the types of tales of conquest that you're used to, though.
I've heard many tales in my time, and each one seems to surpass the one before. So I very much look forward to hearing whatever you have to say. I wish you all the luck in the world with your friend back there.
Well, before I leave, perhaps a down payment. I can't help but have my curiosity piqued by the two individuals over in the corner, over there. What's their deal?
I've actually never seen the half of them before, and well, the other one, well, they're here every now and again.
Not a member of your order.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, they are. But I don't really mix with them. Never really cross paths. Couldn't really tell you much about them. They're not here often. Tend to spend quite a bit of time elsewhere.
Very well. A pleasure. I'm sure I'll be back shortly.
I do hope so. And make sure you bring coin purse when you come later. I might have a card game that I could beat you at.
Oh, well, that will be an interesting thing.
It is good game. I'll teach you. My sister taught to me. I will teach to you.
Sounds marvelous. If you'll excuse me.
And they
And
both
I'll-
kind of like bow their head and just nod you off.
I'll do a kind of little, and then I'll go back carrying sort of plates of soup and sort of what kind of food is it? What kind
Plates
of
of
food's going?
soup.
Bowls of soup.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
Bowls
I
of
was going to
soup,
say,
carefully.
wait.
I may be a sorcerer, but I'm not a fucking magician.
Comes back spinning
Somebody
plates.
should be.
It's, I mean, the breakfast foods that you gather, it's more continental style. You've got like meats, cheeses,
Just my style.
that sort of stuff.
Okay, cool. So I'll just go and get a few plates and bowls of all that kind of things, and I'll just kind of be walking through.
There
I'll
were,
go to the garden first.
there were these very nice kind of like fruit bun things that were there as well. So you do manage to take a few of them.
Get a couple of them fresh.
Yeah.
I'll see so and so. And I'll go to the garden first, but I won't disturb Jove. I'll just set a couple of bits just off the sand to the side.
Well, as you were in the kitchen, Jove, you start heading out towards the to the garden, and you get there. And the thing you see immediately is that the pattern that you drew before has been completely erased. The sand is completely back to where it was before you started, so no pattern whatsoever. And instantly you kind of walk out, and like the frustration sets in almost like straight away. You're like, worked really hard on that, like.
Yeah.
Damn. And it kind of like the emotion in you kind of boils up again, but you start remembering the lessons from the day before, and what do you do?
So sort of seeing the blank canvas of it all again, he's like, no, nice choices. Don't get angry at sand. It's fucking stupid. Okay. All right. And in his own way, trying to take deep breaths, he's sort of like very aggressively breathing through his nose, and then like, okay, all right. And then grabbing the rake a bit too hard, and then remembering that he doesn't have to grip it as tight as he does, and letting go ever so slightly, he sort of steps into the center of it, and he just sort of like draws a circle around himself, just to break it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just sort of starts trying to make more circles that sort of like overlap with each other. He's just sort of like moving it just around, just making these circles that sort of overlap every so often, and they sort of, disperse, but he's just slowly circling around, just making a new pattern.
You start doing so, and after a while, you kind of like lose track of time a little bit during this. And as you kind of like pull the rake round once, you kind of like your eye catches that there's been a plate of food left at the side, and you don't remember seeing anyone come out. It's like you were kind of lost in what you were doing.
Mhm.
But there's a small plate of food, and just stood on this corner, no tortoise in sight, is Victus, and he kind of goes, well, today is a new day, and we're gonna have to start a new lesson today. So,
Good morning, Grandmaster. And he does like a really awkward.
it is, yes, and it's gonna be even better once we get started. I need you to come with me, please.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. He very gently puts the rake to the thing and sort of like stands next to him, sort of unsure. but ready.
Follow me! And he just literally leads you across the courtyard to where the koi pond is. You see that where the koi pond is, the rock that has been made to use this is quite large, relatively wide rock wall that has been made. Right. Place yourself on this wall here, wherever you find comfortable.
Like stand or
No,
sit?
you sit your tiny behind down.
Not that small. Okay. And he sort of like plonks himself down, sort of knees up, sort of hands. You know, like if you're sat at a festival and you can't quite be comfortable, sort of like.
No, you're doing it all wrong. Relax. Get yourself here. And he kind of like takes your arms and puts you in like a meditative, like cross-legged, arms just kind of relaxed on your thighs down beside you. Now, remember what I've already taught you. It's about choice. You have to let things go. I sense in you a great tension. A stress that's held all inside. Well, we're gonna learn to just let it go. Now, I want you to repeat after me. And he takes a very slow, calm, drawn breath in through his nose and just exhales, but very slowly and calmly. And again. Good. Relax your shoulders and close your eyes. Listen to the water. I want you to stay here. Keep doing this until I return. Let your mind wander. Take a trip. Think about your life. What was? What is? What may be? Through it all, just keep your rhythm of your breathing the same. No matter what you think about. Whether that's happiness, pain, anger, grief, guilt, anything. Keep your breathing steady. Relax through it all. Remember, it's up to you to decide to react to it or not. Inside you, Jove. It always has been. And without saying another word, he just turns and walks away, leaving you sat beside the koi pond, practicing this deep breathing exercise. Your mind, at first, is filled with, what the fucking hell has he got me doing this for? Like, I don't... Like, really? I've come here to learn, and he's supposed to teach me, and he's just got me sat here, and now all I want to do is pee, because there's water, like, running near me, and, like, But then after a while, you just... Your thoughts, the whole body just starts to relax. Kind of sink into yourself. But what seems like forever.
I sort of know how the thought process would go in this, so yeah, at first he's like, well, this is fucking stupid. Why am I sitting with my eyes closed? I can't relax, can't be intense. As he sort of starts to think further back and sort of go into himself, his face kind of screws up a little bit as sort of the thoughts of like fire and screams and the dragon's roar as it comes down and just incineration before him, and then slightly further back still, and sort of the anger of the chiefs and sort of the grown adults around him sort of looking at him as this thing that's come back and is now causing them problems and stuff. And it goes a little bit further and further, and as he sort of starts to remember, it's just this very one vivid memory he's always had of this sort of just grassy field right as sun begins to rise, and it's just sort of very calm, warm day, and you can feel the grass sort of run around him, and then some other orc children will just sort of like run past, and like one of them will throw a frog at him, and he'll sort of like laugh slightly and look around for it, throw it back, and like then they'll just sort of like run to a lake, and you know, everyone's just sort of playing in water and stuff, and it's just a very sort of peaceful childhood memory of when he was allowed to play with other kids and not be the thing that everyone saw him as. And he just sort of like sits and just gets back into that moment of just the happier times at the tribe when it was sort of celebrations and warm meat by the fire, and there was just, and then for the first time in a very long time he thinks about his dad and just sort of like how big he was when he was like a very small orc, and just sort of being sat next to him listening to stories of like hunts and conquests and sharing meat and learning things, and just a very dull smile sort of breaks out across him as he just sort of sits and just pieces out.
Okay.
That is where he is.
Okay. You sit there for quite some time. You don't know quite how long you've been sat there. And as you kind of hear Victus behind you. Victus? It is Victus. But there's an N, and it always...
Vincis.
Vincis.
You said it wrong continuously.
Vincis. I'm going to write it how I would say it.
Phonetically.
Then, this. There we go. As Vincis comes behind you. Now, how do you feel? You open your eyes, and the sun seems to be setting.
God damn.
You've been out here all day, it seems.
Very cold plate of food next to you.
Yeah, very
He just sort of turns to him and he's I remembered a lot of what I'd forgotten about home. It's weird. I did it once before when I was on my way to be hanged, but it was nice back then. It was sort of the same. I don't think about home a lot anymore, or at least the nice bits of it.
Well, memories are a curious thing. They're there to help us, to hinder us, to guide us, and to stop us in our tracks from time to time. It's having that control over them that makes us who we are. Well, you have successfully passed your third test. You have one left, but we can't continue our training until tomorrow. Go head inside, get yourself something to eat, and clean yourself up for dinner.
Okay, Grandmaster, I will. If I do the fourth test, am I more of a monk than Ash, or are we about the same?
I would see you even more than she is, yeah. Don't tell her I said that, but she never really passed the fourth test, so if you do it, then yeah, maybe you'd be even greater than me. And he just kind of turns and walks away.
Nice.
fucking guy.
Jove sort of like, as he tries to get up, he's like, oh okay, legs are, oh no.
Yeah.
And like he just like falls on his back and like waits for his legs to sort of get some feeling back in them, sort of like hit him and like, okay, now we can move. No, we can't. Okay.
Spoiler alert, Ash 1,000% fell asleep every time she attempted that.
Is that in Xanathar's, the
I'm a better monk than a
pins
monk.
and needles, or is that?
So, what we're going to do is I'm going to fast forward this day. I realise, obviously, we are role-playing bits, but I'd like to know how the rest of you are spending the day. Clovis, you take the food to everyone, but then how are you spending the next 8 hours?
Clovis would have just sort of, for a little while after having breakfast, would have just sort of walked the grounds, admiring the residents of the monastery as they go about their training, their daily stuff. Then he would have returned for lunch at the same food hall and probably sat down with S and Luca and heavily embellished a lot of stories about his past. Nothing concerning the Fallen and what they've been doing.
Okay.
More his sort of things from his more distant past and some of the schemes he's been up to, some of the one-ups he's gotten on, greedy lords and stuff like that.
Yeah. The type of stories where it's like, I once saw a Goliath walk into a bar with a honeycomb and a jackass type story type thing. That sort of shit.
Like that. Like, so motes of truth, but heavily embellished to make him look like he was a lot better at things. But while doing this, is the halfling and the tiefling, they're not there, no?
They are not there. You don't see them for the rest of the day.
Oh, okay. Well, so then after lunch, I would have continued to have a little walk around, quite markedly looking for them.
Okay. You wouldn't be able to find either of them at this point through walking around the grounds.
Okay. And then probably just every now and then go back and spend a bit of time with the cauldron, just sort of going about, trying not to get too in the way of too many people, chatting to anyone who will listen.
Yeah, I mean, you spend the day in which you spend, a lot of the people that you do strike a conversation with are quite friendly. There are a couple of individuals that are very much like standoffish. I'm here for a reason. I've got training to do. Please, I just need to... They're not impolite, but they're almost very much straight. Okay, hi, yeah, hope you're having a good day. I'm gonna go kind of situation. And you see them with bow staffs, and you see that there are noticeably individuals there that are very keen on the teachings and trainings that they are being provided with, and walk around very much like chest puffed out, here for a reason, I'm doing a great job, that type of thing. And then there are others that are kind of not doing that. That kind of know what they're doing to a point where they do it without even making it. Yeah. Just kind of like, yeah, in a way, like they do it, but they're just kind of like half-arsing most of it because they're just like, I've done this for fucking however long. But nobody's impolite. Luca and S seem to enjoy the stories. Quite quizzical. Luca more sits back and just kind of enjoys the company, teaches you and shows you the card trick. No money is won or lost. Kind of teaches you the card game a little bit. Teaches you how his sister taught him, and the reasons as to why, and how to hold 6 cards in your hand with it appearing like you only have 5 cards, and being able to that sort of thing. S holds and kind of joins in with the card game, but also quizzes you and is very attentive on the stories you're telling, and kind of asks you for more detail whenever it is needed from in his respect. But you have quite a pleasant day as you kind of going about. Michael, how are you spending the next 8 hours?
Probably just by the cauldron.
Okay.
Eat with one hand whilst the other hand is still sort of stuck inside.
Okay, so you're keeping your hand in the cauldron the entire time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to feel for an arm or a hand and basically see if I sense an emotion at any point.
Okay.
And yeah, he's mostly just gonna sit there. Eventually, quite soon after Clovis and Jervis left, the halo will sort of disappear. Almost like when the sun goes down, but yeah, sort of the same sense.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically what he's gonna do. He's gonna take short amounts of rests in between. Just yeah.
Okay, Ash.
Ash spends some time by the cauldron at Michael's side, but she doesn't keep a hand in the cauldron, and similar, probably around the same time, Ash's astral self form also fades. But while it's still up, without moving her mouth, you hear in your head, what was it like?
What was what like
Being,
being dead?
aye, or coming back? Is she going to be? Were you putting her in pain doing this? Did I hurt you?
No, no. You didn't hurt me at all, actually. It was, I don't know, it was weird. It's hard to describe. It was sort of like, for me, it was sort of like I was floating. I don't know if you've ever heard stories about the astral sea.
No, I know about the Feywild, but not about the Astral Sea. No.
Basically, imagine you're floating in darkness. There's nothing there. It's just you. It's not. It's not happy, but it's also not completely scary. It's sort of
The
a mix in
absence.
between. Yeah, absence of almost everything. And that in of itself was a little bit uncomfortable. But when I saw you, and when you reached out your hand, which I still don't know how that works, but as soon as I grabbed it, it was like being shot through space for a brief second, and you just woke up. I mean, being resurrected wasn't not the awful part for me. The awful part was the fact that I was in a closed casket 6 feet under, and there was dirt all over me, and I had a sword on top of me, and there was very little room to breathe. So I don't think that she will
No.
have the same experience.
Well, you've just unlocked a new fear in me, so thank you for that. Being buried alive, I will add that to the list.
Yeah, it's not comfortable. If
No.
you are going to be buried alive, grab a sword.
Plan on
Take a
it.
sword with you, a dagger, something.
I'll keep that in mind. I assume anybody would bury me with my weapons anyway.
No, but you have your, badass arm things. You can probably smash your way out.
I could punch my way out. I'm sure.
To be honest, whoever buried me was kind of stupid leaving a sword next to me, but
seems kind of ceremonial in a way. Maybe you're someone important.
Oh God, I hope not. I couldn't handle that responsibility.
Are you okay staying here with her? I don't want to leave her on her own, but I've got to go repay S for the salt.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm all good.
Okay. Well,
I feel a lot better actually.
okay, good. I'll see you soon. And Ash is going to is going to make her way to the dining hall, but is going to stop by the doors.
Just as you're about to head out. you hear in your head. Also, when dinner comes around, I know Clovis gave us breakfast, but would you mind? Just eating has become a regular thing now with me, so would you mind bringing me a plate? I don't really want to leave.
No, of course. Of course I will.
Thanks.
But yeah, I head out and then I stop at the doors.
The doors to the dining.
No.
Oh, the other doors. The doors of the room. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the room. And I want to try and perceive if there's anything going on in there.
Okay.
I want to know.
So you'd have to go to the main hall,
Yeah,
which
so
is the opposite way to the
yeah,
dining
so
room. Okay.
I know my way around. So I'm just gonna go to the main hall first, and then
Mhm.
head to the dining room afterwards. But I want to see if I can hear anybody from within the room.
Okay, you kind of get to the main hall, start making your way across to the room, and as you do, you see the 4 individuals that are tasked with guarding that door, kind of where they were resting, holding their weapons, just kind of hold them and look towards you and tilt their heads a little bit. Make me a perception check, please.
That one.
That one. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything that I described earlier, like any different colours. You just kind of don't see anything, and the 4 individuals that are guarding the door kind of look at you, like,
Hello.
"Hi."
I'm, just reliving old memories, walking around the place. Everything good with you? Enjoying guard duty? Fun.
No response.
Okay, well, you guys are boring. Last people here, they could tell a joke. Bye. And and she basically skips off towards the dining hall.
Okay. You spend the rest of the day. You go into the dining hall. As you do, you kind of notice that S is in there with Luca. You sit down, start regaling them with stories. Clovis comes and joins a little later. You guys spend the rest of the day doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
As nightfall comes, and after around 8 hours, you all have your food when it's served and all reconvene in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, as everyone is sort of gathered, sat on bedrolls, talking about the day they've had, things like that, you, with your hand inside the cauldron, feel slight movement. Like a twitch.
Feathers?
Feathers is currently under the salt. You feel this with your hand plunged in, you feel like a twitch. And again. But this twitch is a little more. Oof. Oof.
Oh, feathers.
Do you take her out of the cauldron?
I'll start brushing off the salt that's from. Oh well, that's sort of resting over her face.
Okay. The rest of you see Michael start to,
quickly spring to action and help.
and you start pulling the salt away and out, or do you pull Feathers out of the cauldron?
I think just away.
Yeah,
Okay.
just away so that I can.
You frantically start pulling the salt away, clearing the salt from her eyes, her mouth, off her body, as she's then lay. All of you gather around the cauldron. In bated breath. You all hear.
No.
And her eyes
No.
fire and flick open, this hue of purple to both eyes. You thought that she was yours, you fools!
Can I immediately?
You really thought that I would let her go?
she is mine. She always will be. She is where she belongs. With me.
And the body goes limp. The eyes turn from purple to blue, but faded as her body goes limp.
When that voice began to laugh, could I have used the ring to cast Detect Good and Evil?
You could have done, yes, and you will have detected immediately that there was a presence of Fae. And it was there momentarily. And as it fades and Feather's eyes turn from purple to faded blue, it dissipates. And that is where we're going to take a break.
Fuck! Nope! Nope, nope, nope!
Guys,
No, I
Fucking Zash
fucking
Faye!
refuse to believe that. Oh,
Guys,
That bitch is going
fuck
down.
me.
we will be back in 15 minutes. We will be back at around 10 past. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.
God.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And thank you so much to Callisto Celeste for gifting the Luke Mac a subscription in the break. The Luke Mac will obviously still be entered into the giveaway. And I believe there was other gift subscriptions earlier on for a couple of other followers. They will also be added into the giveaway as well. So, carry on playing some D&D. As
No.
the body of Feathers lies there in front of you, lifeless. What do you guys do?
What should we do? Though it should have worked.
Why was she
We did
there?
everything right.
Why was she there?
Flashbang. She's been there the whole time.
But I thought.
What? The plume of smoke that disappeared from her
Why?
weeks ago.
Just a ruse. I should have seen it.
You want to know? Feathers didn't see it.
I caught an essence. Just in time, before it faded. Faye.
That doesn't surprise me.
There must be some way to get to her.
Okay, Faye. There are satyrs who live in the woods, in the forest. They might know a way back to the Fae realm. I could potentially ask them. I haven't seen them in ages, but I mean, Tibdil and Javia might still be around.
It's a rare practice, but would there be anyone here at the monastery who is capable of planecraft? Transporting to other planes?
Make me a perception check, somebody.
Yeah, sure.
Not it.
Oh. Wait, was that I'm it? Or
No, not it.
Okay. I got a 15.
I got a 16.
You both notice that as this discussion is being had, Vinces is stood in the doorway with his staff, looking at you all. But he has a different expression on his face than any of you, even you, Ash. You have only seen this a few times. A stern expression. What happened?
It was meant to work. It didn't work.
Our friend was previously under the influence of a strange Fae entity. We thought it expelled, but it would appear it has its grip on her still.
Yes. One that could somehow pass through the borders of different realms, it seems.
Quite.
Ever heard of any such entity?
It goes by the name Zashbei.
All of you follow me. Now.
He just kind of turns and walks out the room.
I'll turn to the rest of them before I follow and just say, take her with us.
I'll start putting on my stuff.
I'll hoist it up.
Yeah. Michael, you start getting your stuff. Ash, you do what, sorry?
I'm just immediately going out.
Oh, so you just stand up and just immediately start following him out?
Yep.
Okay. As you all gather your things...
If she has any stuff left, I'll pick up hers as well.
Okay.
Just so she doesn't leave anything behind.
Okay. As you all start to follow out, he leads you towards the main hall, but instead of going out of the corridor that leads into the main hall and left, he immediately goes across the main hall and immediately to the door that's... instead of going out and going right, as if going to the main doors, he goes out across the main hall to the left-hand side and immediately turns through a small door at the very far left corner from where you come into the main hall. And the door is left open. As you all go in. You walk through that door and into a small staircase that leads and kind of spirals up to the right. You all climb the staircase and into a small room that is Vince's office and kind of abode. The giant tortoise is in one side. It's a circular room, lots of kind of sort of rudimentary. There's not a lot of decoration in here, no kind of mass amounts of furniture. There is a bed at on one side of the room, a small desk with a chair at the other. There is an easel with a half-finished painting near the window to the far side of where you walk in. And so immediately to your left-hand side, the tortoise that you saw the day before is kind of on a few kind of throws, just kind of lay down on its belly to one side. Vincent kind of walks over to the window looking out and puts his staff down and kind of his hands go to each of his hips.
We didn't know that would happen.
No, I don't suspect that you did. It's a great power to be able to cross borders the way that creature did.
Kind of turns at this point, folds his arm, crosses his arms, and kind of looks to all of you.
None of you know really what we do here, do you? Not even you, Ash. For all your time spent here, the true nature of this place was never revealed to you.
It was never revealed, no.
We are many. The Order of the Ethereal Earth are many. We have many monasteries all across the continent, in strategic places. We guard the border between our realm and those that lie beyond. Certain members of our order pass through these barriers to the other side when things go missing, and vice versa, when things come from beyond into our world, it is up to us to stop them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You have a way to get us to her. That's all I'm hearing.
I do not. I am sorry. But there is some here that can. I will send word to one such person immediately.
And he kind of walks to the desk, writes on a scroll, holds it up, and just throws it in the air. The scroll itself kind of spins, tightens itself up, and wisps past you all out the door and down the stairs.
You see, Clovis is kind of not looking at Vensis or any of the rest of you, or really even anything around. He's just, his eyes are sort of as he's trying to formulate something, exploring options in his head. Perhaps we don't need to go to her at all, but entice Zashpe to us. If we can separate them, even for a moment, I may be able to send it away, back to where it came from.
But how? All Zashpe has cared about... getting her here. All Zashpe has cared about is getting hold of Feathers, and then when Feathers did not prove useful enough and was too reckless, she left. And now, what tie is there?
She never left. She merely waited. But now, Feathers is dead, and she would not release her grasp. She may be looking for a new host. One that can complete the task that Feathers could not. I say we offer one to her.
How are we going
Well-
to offer a host? Who would be willing to?
And I must say, I will not allow such a thing. To bring those from other realms here can cause great disbalance. And one ripple here can cause another thousands of miles away that could be catastrophic to the world itself. If you truly wish to hunt this creature, it will have to be there, not here.
We'll call that another plan B then.
I am truly sorry, my friends. What has transpired here today is truly horrifying. And my thoughts and heart goes out to all of you. But this is not the end. And you hear a knock at the door. Come in. The door swings open. The tiefling that you spotted earlier that day steps through. Natalie, would you like to describe your character for me?
So you
Hell no.
see taller than average tiefling, flowing red hair with sort of curled horns. She wears a sort of a leotard of sorts with a long draped arm. I'll post the art in chat later.
I'm uploading it right now.
But she has a full face of makeup, and she has mended the few rips that you'd seen previously on her outfit, and she struts very confidently straight up to Victus.
Vintus.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's his fault. I'm confused. I only just got back.
I am sorry, my dear, but this is... I wouldn't call for you if it wasn't most urgent now. My friends here have lost somebody, and I can think of no better person to help them find them. I'm hoping that you don't mind. I took the inclination of presuming that that would be an okay proposition for you.
I mean, I was hoping to stop by home like I normally do, but of course, you know I can't do it today.
That is most unfortunate. Friends, I'm sorry, how very rude of me. This is Hallie. Hallie here is a great friend of ours and has been with us for some time.
Do I recognize Hallie?
We're fortunate that you are here.
How long? I'm doing the wrong accent now. How long have you been with the Order? Not that I'm challenging your credentials or anything.
No, of course, I've been here on and off for the last 3 years, but I am willing to help you. It's kind of what I do, but I have to wait till tomorrow. Where did you lose your friend?
That's difficult to say.
Here, but there was interference from there, shall we say.
She's talking about Feywilds, right?
Yes, I believe she is.
Right. Okay. Interference?
An entity by the name Zashbe of Fey nature. It has held a grip on our friends for some time, and we fought to alleviate that grip. Apparently unsuccessfully.
Yeah, they can be tricksy. Have I heard of an entity named Zashbay before?
This is so weird!
You have heard of somebody called Zashbay. You know, in the area in which that name was spoken last, it is deep within the Fey Forest. You know that that creature or individual hasn't been seen or heard of in some time and has been since presumed dead for quite some time. Almost 10 years, if not less. In fact, probably less. 6 years, let's say.
Yeah. I actually have heard somewhat of this entity you speak of. I thought she was dead.
Well, from what we know, that she was trapped here, and some kind of bargain was made involving Feathers, whereby Feathers would return her to the Feywild.
Feathers is our friend, by the way. We're not just talking about Feathers.
Apologies, we should...
Thank you for the clarification. That's a confusing name. And she took her to the Fey realm?
No, she was... we don't know. We tried to bring her back, and Zashbay appeared again, saying that that she belonged with her.
Right. Well, as I said, I am happy to help in any way I can. But it will be at sunrise. I can't do anything before that. I just don't have the power before that.
Understood.
I am sorry to have impositioned you like this, Hallie. I know that going home was on your list of things to do, and I know that the last time you took a trip after our friend there earlier, I did say that you get a prolonged leave of absence to go back and visit family, but if you could do this for us, and then maybe after that...
That's not a problem. I can get a letter to Belloc. I'm sure someone will send word. I'll take you up on that leave after this job if necessary.
Very well.
When the town named Belloc is mentioned, Clovis just looks at Jove. Right, outside of his eye.
Do I catch that look?
Make me a perception check. What's your
I
passive?
get to use my new sheet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
My passive is 17.
Well,
Damn!
Right, I think you would have done, yeah.
Is everything okay there? Sorry, I don't know your name.
Apologies. It's been a grueling last half an hour. My name is Clovis Crowley.
Oh, pleasure. And she extends her hand to you.
He takes the hand and bows his head to it.
So Belloc is what to you?
We've passed by there in our travels.
Oh, it's a nice little town, isn't it?
It's rather nice. We didn't get to see much of it, unfortunately.
Oh, that is a shame.
Indeed. Just for my reference, Belloc was one of the towns we passed through on the way to Green Nest, right?
Yep. It was the one where you met Edrador.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Going through it, I was trying to figure out where I was.
And the rest of
The
you?
one that was pretty much completely destroyed.
Yeah. Trash town.
I'm Ash.
Ah,
Lovely to meet you.
it's nice to meet you too.
Michael.
Michael? That's... Are you well? Oh no, I apologize. You just lost a friend. That must be...
No, that's just how he looks.
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunate.
Um,
You get used
And you there, Quiet Worm.
Oh,
That's a
Jove.
unique name. Oh, Jove. That's a lovely name. It means star, right?
it's a orc name. There's a star up there that is part of it. Yeah.
I know it.
And I'm
Your
sure
sister.
I'll be interested why when this is over.
We are sorry. We're normally more.
Understandable. I apologize. Sometimes it takes me a while to read a room.
Me too. Don't worry.
Yeah, we kind of all have that problem.
Well, if we must wait until sunrise, what can we do to prepare?
Oh, for preparing for the Feywilds. Oh, that's... prepare whatever you can. It's...
Tebdil told. I know this is obviously our priority here, and we want her back because God knows that Zashby's not going to let her rest. But Tebdil told me when I was out with the satyrs that there's some kind of time funkiness in the Feywild.
There can be in parts depending on the season, yes.
Depending on the okay, is it time funkiness season now?
She kind of shoots a look to the monk.
Princess.
Monk.
I'm a monk too. Yeah, me.
I don't believe so, right?
Well, shit, you were there last.
Yeah, but I haven't been gone that long.
No, you've been gone since this morning.
Okay, then no.
Okay, that's good.
No. There it is, because you left first thing this morning and got back first thing this morning.
So
Oh.
it was like 0 time passed.
Oh, okay.
Wordplay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yes, sorry. Yes, it is time funkiness because you left and you returned about half an hour after you left,
Okay.
but were gone for, a good few
Yeah.
hours. I'd like someone apart from Hallie to make me a perception check, please.
I'll give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
That is because my perception's gone up a 19.
At 19, you spot as she kind of turns to Ventus.
Vinces.
There is a small, tiny, what looks to be a scroll nestled in her hair at the back.
Squirrel or scroll?
Scroll.
I thought you said squirrel too.
No, a very small scroll. Like, we're talking about this big.
Okay.
Nestled slightly into the hair at the back.
Well, if we are to make this journey, then we should all prepare as best we can. I hate to ask more of your home, and I'd sort of go to those two, and to Ash. But are there any resources that we may acquire through trade? We have gold we can pay.
Well, actually, my father runs the general store there. It's a bit away, and as I said, my means of travel, while normally instantaneous, I can't use until sundown. I mean, sun up. Sorry.
Your father runs the general store where?
Where?
In the Feywild.
Oh, sorry. You said of my home. In Belloc.
Oh, No, we went.
I was
here.
referring to the monastery here. My apologies.
Oh, sorry, I don't stay here very often. I work and then I go home.
Your father. What was his name?
My father,
Yes, like I said, we
Lawson?
passed.
Lawson Astafel?
I'm afraid we didn't meet him.
I mean, he's a really nice fella.
What
He would have
about
done you a great deal.
Maybe
about here?
next
in
time
your
we're passing
presence?
through.
Well, it depends what kind of supplies you're looking for. We've got some weaponry that you can kind of borrow if you need it. Take as much food as you like. We've got plenty of supplies in that respect.
Oh, my potions. In the tent. They'll be done.
Ah, of course. How big is this room?
Not big enough to pop the
Damn it!
V, are you making them stay in a tent?
No, I don't even know they had one.
Oh.
We do. We have one. It's like. Never mind. We can probably access it outside if we have enough space. Perhaps in the garden.
I mean, you're more than welcome to stay in the dormitories again if you'd like.
We wouldn't want to intrude, despite the wonderful accommodation.
You see,
Well,
as they're having this chat, she's kind of gone off to the side where there's a desk, and she has pulled out a quill and paper, and she is writing a note home.
Okay.
well, if you just let us know what kind of supplies you're looking for before you leave, and if we can supply them, then we will. But we're not really the most stocked in terms of what you could possibly buy in a big city, but we have enough here to protect what we need to protect, which is the doorway beyond. Well, all real, like, magical weapons and armaments and things, unfortunately, we have to keep here.
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
I think we have enough weapons as it is. Perhaps a potion or two, if you could spare.
I'll see what we can muster up.
Particularly any
Thank
that
you.
might protect us from the wily ways of the Feywild's residents.
I don't believe they've made that potion yet, as she wraps up. And who do I give this to again?
S is probably your guy, but I can give it to him. Don't you worry. Like I have every other one thus far. I'll take that.
I knew that.
And he just kind of takes it and just kind of pops it in his kind of belt.
Okay.
And you okay accompanying us for this? Obviously, we'll need a lift back. I don't know how this works.
Oh, I got you, girl. So the way it works is this here, and you do see some. She kind of gestures to her staff, which is just slightly taller than her, and it's polished wood up until about shoulder height, and then it kind of branches off into like a semicircle.
Nice.
And it's got a couple of feathers actually attached to it. No birds though. So this here, I can use to I can hit people with it, obviously. But I can once a day travel somewhere and back again. So this is a return ticket, so to speak.
Okay. That's good.
I don't normally travel with so many people, but I'm pretty sure that won't be a big deal.
Did you hear in the murmurings of this Zashbe entity what might have initially banished, or as you say, killed them? Any weakness they might have?
I don't believe so. Looking to the DM. No, to be fair, what I've heard are more like stories of, because I haven't been going to and from the Feywild as long as she was presumed dead, but it was more talk between creatures. She seems to be a big deal, but I didn't hear how she met her demise.
Well,
I'm
not to
sorry,
sound
that
like a
doesn't
broken
help.
record,
No, that's
But-
fine.
if she bleeds, we can kill her.
And even if she doesn't, there's still things we can do.
I was about to say, not everything bleeds, but most things die.
Yeah, well, most things.
Well,
Oh, okay.
we greatly appreciate your assistance in this matter. Thank you for your help. And sorry to keep you from your journey home.
Not at all. I haven't been home in a few months. A little longer won't hurt. They expect me to be gone quite long anyway.
Very
Well, I think y'all better get some rest now. Prepare yourselves for the journey, like, first thing tomorrow. And again, if there's anything that we can do to help, then we will.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
V.
Where would you prefer us to set up our tent? It doesn't take up much room.
Well, as long as it doesn't take up too much room, you can set it up outside if you'd like, in the courtyard.
Yeah,
be-
also, about the courtyard, I'm sorry about a couple of the training dummies.
Yeah, word reached my ears a little while back, don't worry. They kind of get destroyed all the time. Ash,
Yeah,
He's
I
destroyed-
don't know what happened, really.
what?
No, I sort of blacked out a bit. I have this new thing that I seem to remember being able to do that I can. It sort of blew them to smithereens.
Well, don't you worry. We'll get someone on that right away, and we'll get those replaced. As I said, Ash has destroyed a fair few in her time. Mainly because I told her to do stuff that she didn't like, so she'd go out there and break stuff.
Oh, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one then.
You
Oh.
seem like my sort of friend.
Well, go down and get you all something to eat and get some rest. I'll be waiting in the morning. Jove, I'm terribly sorry, but if you wish to pass your final lesson, we can either do it now or when you return.
Well, we don't know if we're gonna come back here. You never know we're gonna turn up. Let's do it now.
All right, well, let's all head down to the courtyard then. Harry, you still have your own bedroll and whatnot. Make yourself comfortable. I'll come fetch you in the morning.
Of course.
I was
It was nice meeting y'all.
I was going to suggest if perhaps you were willing to accompany us. It could be useful to have an expert such as yourself when devising our plans.
I would also appreciate knowing what I've missed in 3 years.
It's nice to be wanted. I mean, I'm happy to join y'all. Yeah. As
Much
long
obliged.
as it's not just watching you train this one, is it?
No, I'm gonna
Okay, that's
take
fine.
care of that. You really didn't like training either. That's something that you two got in common, like, quite a lot. You two are actually fairly similar in that respect, both a pain in my ass. As he kind of like
And you
fetches
love
his
us for
stuff.
it.
Yeah, you goddamn right. As he kind of like walks out the room.
Hey,
That's-
Jove. Remember, your decision, your choice. We're all going to be okay.
He's, as you said that, he sort of puts the cauldron down gently and just turns and just goes, "Why do you think I've not been saying anything this entire time?" And just follows the Grandmaster straight out.
Grandmaster, I love that. Pardon.
Why
Okay.
is he calling him that?
He probably said it as a joke, and Jove
Enough.
and
Enough said.
You all make your way down the spiral staircase, Jove. makes your way out before the rest of you. You all kind of follow down at the same time out through the main hall.
I bump out my astral arms to support carrying feathers down.
Okay, no problem. You all make it
stayed
out.
here longer if I could do that.
You make it out
as we're walking down the stairs, I'm just gonna go up to Ash and I'm gonna say, I don't wish to cheapen the moment, but she's absolutely delightful, isn't she?
Yes, she is. I wish it was better timing, honestly.
Well, then again, I thought that about you when we first met.
True. Well,
I give her a little smirk and a wink.
I kind of like jostle him slightly, but I've got all four arms and a cauldron in my hands.
You make it out into the courtyard. Most of you go off to just beyond where the koi pond is on the left-hand side, set up the tent. Jove, you and Vincis go towards the right-hand side. He leads you to where the one training dummy that is left and still functioning is standing after Michael's episode this morning.
I don't know what you mean, mate. I haven't done anything.
The dynamics change. It's no longer me.
Vincis turns to you and walks over to one of the weapon racks and takes out a hand axe. Blunted, very worn. Walks over and hands it over to you and goes,
Now, I want you to hit this dummy.
Got anything bigger?
No, I do not. And you don't need it for what we're about to do.
All right. So, just hit it.
Just hit it.
Okay. And sort of like with a slight sort of run up and then a hop, he just like sinks into the top of the head, and then sort of like kicks the dummy back. Okay.
No.
I thought.
Now, why are you swinging all wild like an animal?
Because I want to kill the thing in front of me, so you go for the head.
Oh, you can kill things just as easily without swinging like a crazy man.
I mean,
Control yourself. Let it
long as it
all
hits.
go. All right.
and he kind of takes the axe out of your hand and drops it to the ground.
Right.
Now hit it again with the axe. Without hitting it with the axe. Pretend it's in your hand. Hit the dummy.
Oh. You can see him sort of like trying to envision it in his own. It's a very sort of like unsure, like what the fuck am I actually doing here? It's more of like a loose swing as he's like looking towards him, sort of like trying to gauge. What am I...
Not like that. Move out of the way.
And he kind of like shoves you, and he kind of goes and like pretends to grab hold of a bow staff in front of him, and literally his movements suggest that the bow is in his hand, and you see him like swinging this thing, and as he's moving and in his movements of his hand, you can kind of see where the bow staff would be in relation to his hand, and he goes like that, and as if to like hit the dummy, and he stops his hand exactly where the bow staff would connect, and then whack again, as if it would hit the shoulder, and as if it would hit where the ribs are again, and then kind of throws the movement as if holding it, and then goes.
You see? It's all about control, Jove. You can swing wildly, but if you miss, then you'll become unbalanced, lose your footing, fall over. Having control of yourself means having control of your weapon. Do you understand?
Yeah, okay, I get what you mean, Grandmaster. But can I have my actual weapon, or?
When I can see that you can hit things with no weapon, then we might practice hitting things with a weapon. How does that sound?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I trust you. That's fine. You taught Ash to do stuff, so I can do it too.
And as you pull your hand back and go, and just as you kind of feel like the rhythm of it, just as you imagine the axe swinging down, your wrist arcing to make connection, you feel shoved to your side as your hand drops and you completely miss the target. And Vincis is sort of stood there going, well, hit it.
All right, well, fucking let me hit it. Fine. He goes in for like a wider sort of to the ribs this time, trying to sort of be a bit more tactical of where he would try and hit something.
And as you do and you step, just as your foot steps to kind of gain leverage, he kicks your foot slightly. You don't, it's just kind of like your shoulder drops and you lose your balance, and he's like,
come on, hit it. I thought you were supposed to be good at this whole warrior thing.
And again, you keep doing that, and each time you try to connect, he just kind of shoves you off balance every single time until you start getting angrier and angrier, and eventually just lose control, forget that the axe is there, and just punch the dummy as hard as you can, like, boof.
Mm-hmm. As his sort of like fist hits this thing, he sort of grabs it a bit and tries to like shake it out of whatever it's in, and just he starts like wrestling with it, trying to pull it so he can just start hitting the floor with the dummy.
Yeah.
You see, this is the problem that we have. You've forgotten everything that I've told you so far. You're holding on to what's inside, you're letting it control you when you ain't letting it go. Breathe. Become one with what's inside you and choose. Make the choice to either let it out or not.
You're the one who made it come out. I'm just trying to do what you told me to do, and you're the... You can sort of like see like it's almost in sort of like starting to rage, that the tusks start to like crack a little bit as they grow, and sort of there's like a few pops to him as he's trying to pull back on actually activating rage. Get what you mean, but fine, okay.
Now I want you to take hold of this here axe, and I want you to hit it without getting angry. Breathe, control yourself, and I want you to go at half pace until it feels natural and right.
You do that, after a while, you're just kind of like getting into the rhythm of hitting this thing, and it sort of becomes rhythmical and melodic, and start getting into a calmer sense of fighting, and like even the maneuvers that you're so used to become unnatural in feel. Whenever you try to exert too much energy, it kind of like, well, it doesn't quite feel right. And then after a while, Vincis turns and goes,
now, hit it with everything you've got. Then hit it with absolutely nothing. Straight after.
He sort of takes this deep breath in and throws the axe up and holds it sort of like reverse, and just like cleaves through the chest, like bringing it full force with this thing. And then as it comes around, he sort of tries to flick it back around and stops as it would normally hit the other side. He would just sort of like tries to touching the dummy slightly, but pulling back on his arm.
Good. Starting to get it. You can choose when to unlock the power that's inside you and when to let it subside. The greatest lesson I could teach you. When to just let things go, and when to utilize what you've got all built up inside you when you need it. You are in control of everything about you, Jove. It is not in control of you, despite what you may think. But don't think. Breathe, but don't breathe. Strike, but don't strike. Be one with everything you are, and eventually you'll understand that it's okay to be you.
Is it?
Yeah. You're a good soul, Jove. You just got a stupid head.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
And he
Always
kind of
have.
Keep hitting it. I'll be back soon. I've got a present for you.
And he starts
Thank you,
wandering off.
Grandmaster. And he just starts like, he's going to call you Grandmaster forever. You are Grandmaster.
It's always going to
And
be
yeah,
funny.
just very rhythmically, just sort of hits it hard and then stops and then too hard and then stop again and just tries to chop and change a bit and, you know.
In the meantime, the rest of you pop the tent up.
Yes.
Ali, you notice that they erect this tent magically, like they pull a tab on this small box and this what appears to be like at best a 2-man tent for maybe 2 halflings, like, or 1-man tent if it was, or a 1-person tent if it was like that size. It's very small, and
I kind of like put a hand on my shoulder, like, right, it confused the fuck out of me when they first showed me, but just hold on.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
still
I'm going to
don't get
fit
it.
in there.
Oh, you will.
It's okay. We sleep hanging from our feet. There's plenty of room.
Like a pack
I
of
don't-
sardines, really close together. We're really
Hey, well,
close.
That can be fun, but I don't know if that's quite appropriate in this mood.
No, come on. You'll see.
After you. And I'm a bit hesitant to follow them in because I don't believe that for a second, but yeah.
I'll head in
Okay.
first, and I'll find any kind of blanket that there is and chuck it over the eggs.
okay,
Yes.
no problem. That's easy enough to do. You kind of throw them over.
Mhm.
I
Come
go
in.
in.
Come in.
Yeah, I will follow him with the Feathers bundle, and I'll go to Feathers' room, and I will take Feathers out. No, I'll keep her in, put her in her room, and then kind of get one of the many like blankets and stuff that she like and throws she has on her bed, and like almost like tuck her in.
Mm-hmm.
As morbid as it looks, like that's just what Ash is doing right now, and kind of as she's like just smoothing her feathers, she just kind of plucks one that got loose in the fight and just kind of tucks it behind her ear.
Michael's just gonna put his hand on Hallie's back and just push her inside, gently push her inside the doorway and walk him past her.
Oh,
As
well,
you step
I
in,
didn't-
Hallie, the whole space just opens up in front of you.
this I like,
This is
Welcome.
freaky.
but handy.
Cool.
Welcome to our home on the road.
It's big
Make
on
yourself
the
comfortable.
inside.
Many
Oh,
small
that's-
things are.
Okay.
What are you all
He
laughing
says from
at?
experience.
What?
I meant that in, an encouraging way. Great things, small packages, that kind of thing. No, not like that.
Of
Forget
course. Uh-huh.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go and see if there's any half-drunk bottles of wine anyway.
There is. You
Not like our
guys,
friend died recently or anything, is it?
there is some wine in the kitchen, Clovis. There is a bottle and a half. You have 1.5 bottles left.
I'll just drink the half.
Would you mind, Clovis, if I had a short moment with you?
Certainly. Sorry, I've been wanting to speak with you as well, but things have been
Yeah.
really distracting.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Come. And I'll go into my wedge.
Yeah.
And sit down and start sort of tinkering around with some of my things and my little weird magical salt shakers and stuff like that, and taking them out and putting them on the table. And I'll spin around on the stool. How can I help?
How much do you... I mean, I know that you are quite skilled when it comes to magic and things like that.
Well, I'm glad you think that. It's what I try and make people think, but it's been a journey of discovery. I've not had a great deal of tutelage for quite some time. It's been a learning curve, but I'm getting to grips with some things, and other things continue to surprise me. What did you have in mind?
No, things keep surprising me as well. And apparently, I have had tutelage in magic before.
You have? Well, I mean, I sort of assumed it. I've seen you cast limited magic, but usually quite
Well,
useful.
I didn't know that I could do this until a couple of hours ago, and I
Hit me with it.
produce an image of a dragon circling around. Sort of like you know how is it Japanese or Chinese dragons
Yeah.
that are,
Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, Dragon Ball Z, yeah.
Shenron.
Yeah, Shenron.
Yeah,
And it just circles above my hand. And then I just make it disappear.
You, unless, I mean, please correct me if I'm mistaken, but generally speaking, there are various schools or methods of magic. Most of the time, they are learned and require certain components, but I did not see you use any in that particular. Is this
Nothing
something
for this either, I say, and you hear it all in your head, and my mouth is completely closed.
I say back in your head? That is interesting. When, or rather, where did you learn this? Is this? You said you remembered rather than. Please explain. I'm quite curious, actually.
You remember after we managed to, or rather failed to prevent the big blighted dragon?
Of course.
Well, after Ash and I jumped into the water, we were transported into this cavern.
By the Guardian, yes, of course.
Yeah. Well, see, there was a runestone there, which Naiad told me that apparently these crystals access my memories. And so after touching it, I got flashes
Of your former life.
Yeah. Something like that.
And that too has awakened abilities within you.
Apparently, I already knew how to do all that stuff. I had just forgotten, I guess. It honestly leaves more questions than answers, but I know that I was trained.
Where? And by whom?
I don't know. In a cellar somewhere. I remember standing in front of this training dummy, somewhat similar to what they have here, and I was in a small stone cellar, stone floors, and it was just me and the training dummy, and I could hear two voices behind me talking. An older man. I got a decent look at him, and white beard. He told me to concentrate, and I reached out my hand towards dummy trying to cast something. And I heard another voice telling me that it's hopeless, I'm useless. They can't teach me. I will never be ready. But they argued back and forth, and the older white hat man just eventually told me to concentrate and that I know what's at stake. And all of a sudden, this energy bursted through my hands and completely destroyed the training dummy, just like I managed to do apparently a few hours ago in the courtyard.
Amuse me for a moment, if you don't mind. That thing you just did, producing the dragon. Such magic can be harnessed as well to create sounds, voices, that sort of thing. Is your memory clear enough to perhaps replicate either the person or the voice that you heard?
I'll create an image of the person, and I make that fade, and you hear first the voice of the old man, and then the more grovelly voice of the second man, and the conversation.
That's what I think is.
You recognize not only the face, but both voices.
You see Clovis just go from looking curious and sort of sitting there with his wine quite prim and proper, to just limp, and he drops the glass of wine that spills to the floor. That's not possible.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean, as I press to digitate the wine off the floor. Sort of just automatically, just...
He stands up and he begins pushing stuff off his desk, pulling stuff away, going through papers and papers and papers. That's not possible.
What's not possible?
Is it possible?
Ash, I think I broke Clovis. Do you mind?
Have you ever heard the name Crispin Montgomery?
So, Crispin?
Crispin Montgomery. Have you ever heard that name before? When was this?
I don't know. Before I died, and if you are to believe Naya, then at least 30 years ago. But I don't even know if that's true.
No, it can't have been. It must have been much longer ago than that.
I'm sorry, what?
At least 90 years. Maybe more. That man, the older man, the gnome, one of the only friends I ever had. He was my teacher. My tutor.
If I reflect back,
Mm-hmm.
I'll produce the image of the child.
Which one?
The little boy.
Okay.
Does he look anything
As soon as
like
I
Clovis
see
does?
it, as soon as I see it, counterspell.
Okay.
No.
I did say also you recognize both voices.
But I don't know who the other voice is. Right?
You do?
I have an assumption. But
Yeah, you do.
That
this This is a lot. Michael.
Trust me, it's a lot for me too. That is that you?
It's someone I used to know. But that's not me.
Okay, I'm very sorry, Clovis, but I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Who are these people?
I am as confused as you are, Michael. I cannot explain how any of this is possible. Right now, I can only assume that this Guardian mixed something up. Perhaps you got a message that was intended for me, but these are images of a different life, a different past. And they shouldn't be in your head. It doesn't make sense.
I'm pretty sure it does. And I produced I show a vision of the spell that I used against the training dummy. And I produced the same spell as in my hand. A chaos bolt.
Forgive me, I'm having a great deal of trouble piecing this together, but some time ago, I had a similar vision under different circumstances, but a similar vision nonetheless of Crispin teaching me, just like I remember, all those years ago. And the other voice, one I did not recognize, but I don't know. But if you were trained by Crispin, and if I was there, why don't I remember it?
Are we sure that it's at the same time?
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. The timeline of events. I was not trained among others. I was only trained by Crispin. This vision I had some time ago, I thought it must be some error or some misremembering, some ripple in the whatever magic conjured it, but it doesn't make sense.
In that case, I'm sorry to say that I might have even more disturbing news about me.
But you said, what was it that Naya told you about your age?
Crystals. About my age, well, she said that the hair on my forehead is at least 30 years old. At least. But at least 60, I think she said.
And she placed your approximate age as what?
I think
Before
about that.
you died.
Did she say, Liam? I don't know.
The timeline
What do I look like? I look like I'm in my 30s.
Well,
I don't really have. I mean, as far as I know, I'm not elven. I don't have any elven ears, do I?
perhaps you were in the ground for 60 years. Whatever killed you initially killed you at the age of 30. 30 plus 60, 90 years ago. The time lines up. But it still doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
When I remember this, if I think back about my memories,
Mm-hmm.
my hands, did they look like they do now?
No,
But
they were a lot smaller. You were a child.
all right, so I if I was a child then, am I?
This is going to take some time to mull over.
Oh, don't mull for too long, because when everybody gets here, I think there's a couple of things more that you need to know about me.
For God's sake, did this have to happen today, Michael?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask about magic. It's the first time, the first time again that I'm realizing that I can do stuff I couldn't do before.
When I was a very young boy, no more than 7 or 8 years old, and my powers first manifested, unexpectedly and violently, I was taken before magisters and very nearly, well, I can only imagine, sent away to some asylum for magically volatile youths or something along those lines. Perhaps even locked up away and forgotten. I wasn't exactly from the least expendable stock. But an old gnome stepped up and offered to teach me, to take me under his wing and to help me harness my abilities. His name was Crispin Montgomery, and he is the man who you have just presented to me. For my whole life, I just assumed he was looking for a protege. I was not trained or taught with any other children or young adults as far as I can remember, but there was something about this vision that felt like a memory, but it showed me other things I do not remember. This other voice. I can't place it. I don't know who it was, but it spoke of me in a similar way as it spoke of you. It claimed I would not be ready, and that I was a waste of time. From there, Crispin taught me some of his other traits. How to use the abilities I have to get by. And then one day he left. And I thought he was dead.
This is gonna sound horrible, and I apologize. But you should be glad that you did. That he did. Because I didn't want this to happen to you. And I do another minor illusion. And this time you see a ritual room.
Okay, so you play out the vision of you in the ritual room with the knife.
Yeah.
Okay. You can either portray a vision with no sound or sound, not both at the same time. So you wouldn't be able to hear what's going on, Clovis, but you see the vision that I described with Michael holding a knife towards his hand, dropping the knife, and then holding his hand out and a spell coming out towards what you can quite clearly see are cultists.
I was going to say, are the other individuals visible?
Yes.
And you can also see that, because if I remember correctly, I was wearing the same garb as they were.
You don't see the garb until the hand extends, and as you see the hand extend in the image, as it would be in first person, the arm is covered in what you can only describe as a cultist garb.
You were one of them.
I'm assuming so. At least a deserter. Which explains why I ended up dead. I don't have the full story. I have flashes of memories and much.
Crispin was an
Bulbous.
asshole. He was an old shit. A git. But he was my friend. And he was no fucking cultist, Michael. Nor
That's-
a recruiter. Nor a recruiter of children. Or whatever. It doesn't make sense. And
It makes it as much sense to me as it does to you.
I'm so glad we did the whole Michael in cultist garb's vision of him being a cultist while Jove is nowhere near.
Yeah.
look,
Apologies.
I don't wish to tell you what to do or dictate how you progress with your own business. But to me, perhaps selfishly, all this information seems skewed. Either my recollection of events or whatever vision you were given. They don't line up.
No, they don't. I know. I was a child at one stage, and next memory, I'm much older. That there are missing pieces, obviously, but either I was groomed to become a cultist, and in my last moments, I decided that I shouldn't be. And I blasted my way out of there, or
the same is true, but you didn't.
Or I was there.
Blast your way out of there. And that's how you ended up in the ground. Until Ash came along.
There's one more.
Oh, God. What now? And you see Clovis is very much just at his desk with his sort of head in his hands like this. Extremely uncomfortable. His back is arched up, his shoulders are tight to his neck.
I show first just the image of me running away in the alley with the rain hitting And then as it fades, I don't know if you've heard her scream before.
More times than I'd have liked.
Do you think
Sorry.
it sounds similar? And I produced the sound of the screaming girl, or the
Ash.
scream.
Mm-hmm.
Make me a perception check and a
Yeah,
history
I was
check,
just about
please.
to ask.
Oh,
Okay. That is a 17 on perception and a 13 on history.
Okay. You are outside in the main hall of the main area of the tent.
Yeah,
probably
I've like
talking
poured
Hallie
Hallie a
through.
glass of wine, and I'm probably just talking about the monastery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
then
put my feet up on the sofa where near the fireplace, the main bit, drinking wine, just conversing with Ash.
you hear this, Ash, and it's almost because you hear this more often than you care to admit
Yeah.
in your own head. You relive this moment. You have relived this moment over and over and over again since it happened, and you hear it audibly, and you kind of like double take, and you're like, that wasn't, and it's almost like, wait, did I just kind of like manifest that in my own head from nowhere, or like what the fuck? And your head just spins and like pinpoints the noise to Clovis's.
Yeah. So as I
Um,
spin, you hear a shatter of glass.
can I, if possible, does it sound like the scream of like a little girl, or does it sound like the scream of a woman?
Sounds like the scream of a woman.
I don't want you to take this the wrong way, Michael. I wouldn't be the first one to say it, but I'm not sure you should be here. And I don't mean that as I don't want you here. I mean it as it doesn't make sense that you are.
First time I've heard that.
Give me time to process all of this, because now it feels like a puzzle I'd been putting together for almost a century has just been flipped over with the table and
Ash, you,
shattered to pieces.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, of course. You spin, dropping your glass.
Shite.
Are you okay?
I'm
Second glass smashed this
Yeah.
conversation.
I'm so sorry. I'll just go get something to clean that up. Jove, can you keep Hallie company for a second? And I dash.
He's not
and
here,
just-
but okay.
Oh, you're not there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I will be right back, and I dash to where I heard the noise from.
Yeah.
And I just kind of pull away the curtain and like close it aggressively. I'm like, what was that?
Me.
What do you mean you? That was me. Years ago.
I know.
How did you do that?
Because for some fucking reason I was there.
Let's not make assumptions.
That's what Feathers thought immediately when she saw you. She asked about.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know you don't remember anything.
I do. Now. Pieces. I don't know what they mean, but from what I can tell from Clovis's reaction, I guess I was once one of the bad guys. A deserter of some kind, at least. That's what I hope. But I fear it might be worse than that.
And that's not all.
I know. I just know that my life has been entirely flipped upside down. And Naya was right. Some things you rather just forget, I guess. And you're right, too, Clovis. I shouldn't be here.
I kind of glance at Ash when he says that, and then my eyes go down to the floor.
Ash has kind of been, like, out of just sheer impulse, been scratching at her arm where the scar is. It's kind of like become inflamed because she's scratching it so much, and she's like, "What do you mean you shouldn't be here?"
Michael and I also share a connection, or so he would have us believe, or so his visions would have us believe. In my youth, I was tutored by an old kook by the name Crispin Montgomery. Took me in when others would have preferred to send me away. Taught me everything I knew before I embarked on this journey. But that was almost a century ago. And if you can believe it, Michael was there, and I in his vision as a young boy.
But you don't remember him either.
No.
Something about you makes us forget encountering you. I don't remember raising you from the ground. Clovis doesn't remember training with you.
The other voice. The other voice. In my vision.
What voice?
The gruff voice. Not Crispin, the other one. The other one I couldn't place. Foolishly, I've been under the assumption that perhaps it was my father, but, well, that can't be.
It's not
Perhaps
me.
whoever this other voice was with the cult. And once they were done with me and I didn't fulfill the needs that they required,
They took me in.
and erased my memory. Maybe they did the same to you at a later date.
Maybe.
Maybe they're just toying with us. Maybe they already know who we are. Fuck, maybe we're right where they want us.
This is the thing. If
No. That can't be because. I mean. I was dead.
And I have lived for the last 70 years living off lessons and advice that my old tutor taught me. And now I am to believe that he was working with our enemy.
Well, we
Either-
don't know if that's true.
No, we don't. We don't know if any of this is true, or it's all true and what we thought isn't true.
None of this makes any sense. I'm so tired of things not making sense. Hey, you guys up there, any advice? Any answers?
You say that loudly.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Jove, you pretty much finish up your training. Vincent comes back, tells you that you've finished your final lesson, and the only lessons left are yours to learn on your own. He then hands you his pipe. Tells you not to tell Ash. Because she's been after it for years. And hands you a small pouch of pipeweed. And literally turns to you and goes,
Wow.
that's just for when things get real bad and you just need a minute alone. Now go,
We all
Joe.
might need that pipe right now.
He wishes you well.
None of you.
He wishes you well.
He gives him a bow back and stows it away. Thank you for everything, Grandmaster.
You're most welcome, Jove. I'll see you in the morning.
You will.
Just imagine a bow off.
And genuinely happy, Joe just sort of starts walking back to the tent like he's the only one in a good mood.
Shit.
You walk into the
Ali's confused,
tent.
but yeah.
Happy, Zayla's around your neck. You're happy in a great frame of mind, and as you start walking into the tent, you get as far as Clovis's door, turn, and see Clovis with his head in his hands, like this. Ash just kind of stood there looking freaked the fuck out. Michael doing exactly the same, and then you turn and look into the tent, and Hallie is just on the sofa with a glass of wine with her feet up, and just raises a glass towards you.
As soon as I hear Joe walk in, like put his first footsteps in, I'm just going to turn to Clovis and say, do you remember the promise you gave me?
Mhm.
I can understand if you want to retract it now, but I would really prefer not to die again.
This doesn't leave this room. Not for now.
Yay, Joe's
Connie.
favorite thing!
It's fine. Groups get clicks. I'm the one on the outside. Fine.
I'm drinking on my own, bitch. What?
You're new. You don't count.
Oh, wow.
We will deal with this at another time. In the meantime, there is a very attractive young woman outside that I've just left with after shattering a glass of wine at her feet. So,
As Joe sort of comes, he's like, guys. Allie, where is everyone?
It's Hallie, and
Is
they're
it?
in there. It is, yeah.
Not all of them.
Sorry, yeah. I think the blue one is getting something to clean that up, but that it sounds a bit tense.
Ash kind of walks out, grabbing Michael's hand, like, there, clean that up.
Oh,
Right. And
I
I'll
thought you were going to
just
get a
start to
cloth, but you got a manservant.
prestidigitate.
Okay.
Looking at the both of them, inside check.
Roll me an insight check.
Vibe check.
Weirdly, I have proficiency in this.
Oh no.
Yeah. I've got a +4 to insight. I never use it, but I've got it.
Nice.
Okay, and with a 15, that's a 19.
19. They look a little uncomfortable, but they're trying their best
I'm gonna
not
roll a
to...
deception check just to see.
Sure.
Oh! 18 for 17. So
Okay.
I'm all right.
Michael, roll a deception check as well.
I don't think Michael would be mentally able to. But sure. Deception. That's a 19.
Fucking hell. They look fine, Joe.
Okay. Sort of watching the
Wow.
two of them come out of Clovis's room, he's just going to sort of look at them and just go, yeah, I don't want to know. and just straight into his own room,
Probably for the best.
making choices.
Um,
The
I
right
am-
choices. Not to talk to you lot.
I'm really sorry about that. Just something I heard something and it just kind of spooks me. But I'm
I
okay.
have to say, you looked a bit scared.
Blue.
I was gonna say, but I thought it might be a bit inappropriate.
No. Just sometimes get echoes of the past, you know.
I don't, but okay.
Okay, well, never mind then. I'm okay though. And I kind of just look back to Clovis, who I assume is still kind of.
Clovis doesn't leave his room for the rest of the night, but he does cast sending to Quinn.
Hey.
Hello, dear. I hope you're well. We've had a rough couple of days, but there's no need to worry about any of that. I need you to do something for me. And I need you to be very, very careful about doing it. There's a man I need to find. His name's Crispin Montgomery. I don't know if he's alive or dead, but please do what you can. I miss you.
A moment or so passes. Yeah. Oh, hello. Sorry, I may be a bit out of breath. I've been quite busy today. The renovations are almost complete, and we are preparing ourselves for a grand reopening. It was all Darlin's idea. I thought it was probably best to hopefully drive some new customers through the door. Sure, I can put some feelers out. I have got some connections in most of the major cities. Any idea where I should start first, or should I just ask everywhere? I'm glad to hear you. It's been a few days. I was getting a bit worried. Everyone here seems to be getting on just fine. People are settling in. Eros is actually doing quite a lot of work for the governor. Most of the people we brought with us have settled in quite well. Some weren't really accustomed to village life and town life, however, and have since moved elsewhere, further south. I think the further south they get, further away from trouble they will be. But I'm glad to hear you. I'll do what I can, and I'll get in touch as soon as possible. I miss you too, and I hope you stay well.
I'll cast again and I'll say, it warms my heart to hear that you and everyone back in Green Nest are doing so well. As for this individual, I don't particularly know, but I think he is involved with our enemy, and by connection, perhaps involved also with your former partner. I know it's a lot to ask, but perhaps Corner Bell is a good place to start. Be very, very careful in your inquiries. I'll be in touch soon.
Very well. I will do what I can. I'll send word out to Scorner Bell as well as a couple of other friends that I have in other cities, and I'll see what I can do. It seems like quite a unusual name, not common, so to speak. So maybe someone in the right circles may have heard something. I'll do as much digging as I can, but can't make any promises. Anyway, be safe, and remember, no matter where you are, I'm always here, and should things go wrong, you can always come back. Come back home. To me. I'll speak to you soon. Bye, Dad.
I don't reply.
Hallie, if you want, there's a hammock in the room back there. If you want to sleep
I
there.
would. It's nighttime, obviously now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably be a bit more comfortable outside. You guys seem to have things going on, and I prefer the stars.
That's fair enough. I just realized that I bamfed out. I did my arm thing without any explanation earlier.
That was impressive. I mean, more hands are always helpful.
I agree. And like, so when Ash does her like astral arms, it is literally like constellations lighting up. What do you know? Do you know a lot about the stars?
Oh, I've spent the few years that I've had on this Earth planet, staring up at them and learning all I can.
Well, maybe we should talk about them at some point. Not tonight, though. I'm going to watch over the little one.
There.
And I am going to spend the night in Feathers' room, watching over the cauldron.
Okay. You guys all settle down in your respected rooms. Jove, you pretty much again pass out almost immediately. You kind of have a few tokes on your little new pipe secretly in your room and just pass the fuck out.
Yep.
Can I cast a sniff check?
That'll do it.
No.
Yeah, can I steal it in the night?
Absolutely not.
There's a smelly smell that smells smelly.
Yeah.
I know this smell.
Hallie, you make your way out of the tent, out into the courtyard, taking in everything that you have over the last hour or so about your peculiar new friends.
Mhm.
Settle yourself down in a corner of the courtyard, looking up at the stars.
When I lie down on my mat to look up at the stars, do I feel anything?
From the stars themselves, or in the general sense?
From my hair to when I lie down, do I
Mhm.
feel anything?
Oh, no.
Okay, fine.
I was going to steal it at some point. So.
Crumbles into.
Oh,
You don't
have
feel
lovely
anything.
hair, Paul.
I know what you're referring to. You don't feel anything, no, as you
Okay.
lay down. You do
That's
find it, however,
Oh, okay.
after a short period of time of like moving around, and you kind of lie one way, and then as you kind of turn over to get comfortable on your side, you see that there is a little scroll that's on your bedroll, like almost near your head, near your face.
And do I often receive communications in such a manner, or
Nope.
is this strange? Okay, then I open the scroll.
Okay, you open the scroll, and in it reads, "You win this round. I'll be sure to win the next." Signed, F. The letter F. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Huh?
Oh my god, drama!
Huh?
That's where we're going to end tonight's session, guys.
Okay.
I
okay.
am exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
Jesus.
Guys, thank you
I
so
feel
much
great.
for joining us this evening. Please don't
I
go
need more
anywhere.
red string to line up all those dots, you know?
Please don't go anywhere. We're going to raid our good friends over at D20 by the Sword. They're really good friends of ours. Please put lots of love and hype in their chat when you go and drop into their game. They're really cool. I believe they're online right now. I'm going to double.
Yes, they are.
Give them a follow.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it says they
20.
are.
Yeah, they are live. So, We're going to drop into there. Please make sure you hit that follow.
Oh yeah,
Show them all
Clovis
the love.
and Jove, you both got 100 gold pieces.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, fucking hell.
I'm in double figures.
So, let's
I mean,
leave that
triple
where it
figures.
is. Don't forget, guys, we are back on Thursday night with Spelljammer Academy.
Yes.
Minus one player because they're really rubbish at life and forget to organise things properly.
Guess who that is?
But no idea who that is. But we'll be back on Thursday for Spelljammer. We love you all very much. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on Thursday. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.